Welcome to the second episode of Bix and Pixels, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us for our second episode. This, again, is a podcast for nerds, by nerds, where we're going to talk about industry, culture, and more. So we are going to get right into it and just talk about what we all have been up to this week. So, guys, who wants to start us off?
You know what? You started us with a wonderful intro. Why don't you go ahead and start us off?
Oh, thank you so much, Carlo. I am very excited to talk about some of these things that I've been playing. So I'm just gonna get right into what I've been playing this past week. I've been focusing, obviously, on Genshin. I'm playing that all the time, but we already talked about that, so I'm not gonna get too detailed into like what I've been doing, other than using the Primo gems that MiHoYo generously gave out for their
so generous.
That is the update. Actually, I got 2 great pulls over the weekend.
You did.
I did. I finally got a 5-star. I'm so excited. I got, oh gosh, her name is slipping. Maybe you guys can help.
Is she the rock musician person?
The rock star girl.
Yep, Jinyan.
Yes, thank you. I couldn't remember her name. And then I finally got Hot Boy Jean-Lee.
Beautiful.
I'm so excited.
Beautiful.
I know. I don't know what happened, that I just was blessed by the MiHoYo gods. So that was really nice.
RN Jesus.
Yes. I definitely need to level them up. They're both sitting at, I think, at like 15. So I definitely need to grind and get those levels up. But that was the exciting thing that happened.
Before we go any farther, I just realized that I just realized that we got so excited that we didn't even introduce ourselves for people who haven't listened to us before.
Oh my gosh.
We should probably do that then.
Hi, if you're new. Yes, this is Bits and Pixels. This is the live experience. We also share everything on podcasting platforms and YouTube. Mm-hmm. But to introduce ourselves, we are your hosts. I'm Brianna.
I'm Carlo.
And I'm Kyle.
Yeah. We'll try to introduce ourselves a little bit earlier on. But yes, hello. We're very grateful that you're here, and I hope you are in for the very nerdy ride that we have for you today.
It's a lot of news too, so I think we're pretty much excited to kind of catch everybody up, especially if you missed out on the first episode.
There's a lot to cover.
Which came out last week. Yes, there is. I mean, last week was the Game Awards. So that was cool, but we're not talking about the Game Awards. We're going to talk about like what we did first, and then the Game Awards, and maybe a few things regarding like certain games that shouldn't have been released too early. Cyberpunk. So, you know,
Cyberwatch.
So yeah, no, sorry for cutting you guys off, but if you guys, Bree was talking about stuff that she's been taking care of. So what were they? Where were we actually? I'm just having bad memory.
No, you're good. I was just talking about Genshin, that I got 2 great pulls. Just very excited about Zhongli.
Envy. What?
I know. Well, I was at boat time too, because Kyle's had him for a while, and everyone was pulling him. I'm like, So, very excited that I did get. I did pull him. Hopefully, my next one can be Mona or Chi-Chi. We'll see. I feel like I got a little too lucky this.
You know what? I need to stop caring in my Discord with the Mona, all right? Because my Mona is like double S tier swag, cutest girl ever, and everybody else has like, I have Jean, and I'm like, I guess, but have you seen Mona? Like it's like it's not like the Mona we hate in Persona 5. It's the good Mona that actually does things. You know?
I present to you my sweet darling child, Klee.
Yes. Oh, I was sad that I missed her. So sad. I miss the baby.
The child.
So I really hope that I get yes, the child. Not
it
the
literally named child.
But...
okay.
No, but I think lore-wise she's what, like 10?
Yeah, she's 10. The youngest character lore-wise is actually Chi-Chi. She's 8, but she's also a zombie that can live forever. So
there's that. Yeah, just all the children. Yeah, hoping for Chi-Chi next. But moving on from Genshin, because I haven't been playing that as much this week, other than over the weekend. I've been playing Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity. That just came out in November. Oh, what was that noise?
No. I was like, it's because Age of Calamity, because we all know how hype it is. It's Legend of Zelda. Continue.
Yeah. And that's basically the sentiment, right? I'm a big Legend of Zelda fan. I don't know if you can see my Link fan art here from Breath of the Wild. I'm a huge fan. Like, I have Hyrule Historia on my bookshelf. So when a new Legend of Zelda game comes out, I typically get it. I don't get all I didn't get all the like Game Boy or like DS ones. Just because not really my vibe. I had a couple, but I was very hesitant with another Hyrule Warriors title. They basically announced that game not too far in advance after it launched, probably a couple of weeks. There was a demo that became available, which I played the demo. It allowed you to play the first chapter, which was nice because there was actually a good amount of content in the first chapter. I feel like I got at least 45 minutes out of that demo, which I think is fairly good.
Right.
Especially for a game that is supposed to be canon off of the Legend of Zelda series. If anyone is familiar with the series or not, Breath of the Wild came out in 2017?
Yep.
Did very well. It was the newest installment of the Zelda franchise. They at E3 in 2019 announced that a sequel was going to be coming out for Breath of the Wild, and all of us super fans were super excited because it was like, we're getting another open world Legend of Zelda. It's a prequel to Breath of the Wild. Like, the graphics in that game were beautiful. The storyline, everything around that game, I think, was just very enjoyable. And it definitely has a special place in my heart. But with the pandemic and just, potentially other outside things that we don't know about, the production has likely been delayed, and that's why we haven't had more announcements for Breath of the Wild 2. But we did get Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity got announced, and there was a little trailer afterwards saying, be patient for Breath of the Wild 2, but here's this on a silver platter for you, a Hyrule Warriors, but it's canon to Breath of the Wild, and it's all the Breath of the Wild lore. Basically, it's set 100 years before the Breath of the Wild game takes place.
Right.
I hope they win this time.
Well, I don't want to spoil anything. I'm not that far. I'm about 5 hours into the game right now.
Sure.
I think so it's basically set 100 years before the Calamity events of when you reawaken in Breath of the Wild as Link, our beloved hero of Hyrule. So it's really interesting because the first thing you see is Link in line with all the Hyrule soldiers, and they're being talked to by King Rome, and you see Zelda appear. We get a young Impa in Breath of the Wild. Impa's like 100 years old, so it's really cool to see these characters, when these events actually happened for them, or it basically is right before the Calamity events. I'm nerding out a lot about this right now. Probably a lot of people who don't know that series don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But all in all, I'll say that. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna kind of continue on the Zelda train, but if you finish up your thought.
All in all, I will say that I was hesitant knowing that it was a Hyrule Warriors title, because the first Hyrule Warriors, to me personally, was a flop. I did not like it. I played the first level and I stopped.
Right.
It was like, it's kind of one of those things like Dynasty, like, so the Musou games, like Koei Tecmo they do things. They have that what's it called, that formula, right? Of like, oh yeah, we're gonna do all these games where you just have to beat the shit out of everybody. And I thought it was really cool that they brought in like Fire Emblem, Legend of Zelda. I think they did like one where they brought in like all 3 of their other series. I think it was called Warriors Orochi. And I will agree, like the original Hyrule Warriors honestly just felt like, which also is kind of funny because then I was like, oh yeah, Fire Emblem Warriors good. But the original Hyrule Warriors just seems so, there wasn't like a huge story to that for me. Like I wasn't drawn in, and it was kind of like, I already played Dynasty Warriors. It's fine. The Dynasty Warriors 9 was like absolute garbage in my opinion. But it's just, I see what Age of Calamity did, and they like, I think what really worked with Age of Calamity is that they actually took from, you know, they didn't just like make it up from like the get-go kind of thing. They did, because original Hyrule Warriors, they just took everybody and were like, yeah, baby, young Link fighting adult Link.
Right.
Like, first off, he does that in Smash, right? So that's kind of dumb. We all see that. But then like in Age of Calamity, for example, I think, and I haven't even played it yet, but I think what's really cool is that they use what's going on in the map, right? And like they kind of like base it on like what the Breath of the Wild had, obviously retouched, and it was like, oh look, 100 years before you could actually do this, and you could just see like Zelda actually throwing bombs out of nowhere. And I think that was really cool. Like they actually had those like empty, like those things that alluded to the previous game. It actually had a reason. I think Hyrule Warriors was a literal cash grab, and a lot more of a cash grab than Age of Calamity. And I think Age of Calamity, from what I've seen, is just great. It's just the Nintendo Switch is just super silly when they're working with frame rates and stuff. So, but yeah, I definitely agree with you there. And like, I know a lot of people, like some of my best friends, they even think that Hyrule Warriors was a great game, like the original one. But
yeah,
my
I
two
think
cents.
it really depends. Yeah, I think it depends like what type of Legend of Zelda fan you are, right? Like when Hyrule Warriors came out for I got it on Wii U, I was super stoked about that because again, Legend of Zelda, I want any and everything around that series. But yeah, it didn't feel authentic, and it definitely just, for me, the series is so special because of the story and the lore. And even though, like, you know, famously that Legend of Zelda, you know, they have so many games, but they tie it in with like reincarnations and fitting it into like their really niche timeline that breaks out into 3 different branches. That's a whole nother talk.
Yeah.
But Hyrule Warriors didn't have that story for me. It was just like you said, Carlo, it was like throwing all of the Legend of Zelda characters together and like, woohoo, let's see like who we can fight with Toon Link and like make this fun. Yeah, it's great. And I wasn't really attuned to like the hack and slash style either. That's not my favorite game to go to. But specifically with Age of Calamity, I can understand and it makes sense because it is canon. And like an alternate timeline to the Calamity War. So even though you're hacking and slashing like 500 enemies, you know, there's objectives in the game. You get to play as you know, Link, Zelda, Impa. You get to play as the 4 champions, which is really awesome. Like during those times of that war. So it makes sense that I'm like, okay, I have to fight 300 enemies, and then I have to fight the boss, and like I have to save Urbosa and make sure like she's good, and then I get to fight as her. So it just made sense. The music is also very, very beautiful. It's, you know, the Breath of the Wild music, but there's some remix to that, where I think Hyrule Warriors, similar to Dynasty Warriors, has kind of like that rock and roll sort of vibe to it, where I don't think this would have fit in with Age of Calamity. So I think so far it's doing pretty well. It's giving us more story that I think the Breath of the Wild fans, Legend of Zelda fans really want it. And kind of need it to make sense of the story too, because in Breath of the Wild you know, you wake up and it's like Hyrule's to shit. Like everything's in shambles, and you have to like figure this out and save the world, and you have Zelda like ESPing to you to like Link, save Hyrule, but you don't really understand why this happened or how. and Age of Calamity is giving you some glimpses to that. So for me, that is very exciting.
And I think the other thing with Breath of the Wild story is... I think the other thing with Breath of the Wild story is the... it tells you those stories that, like, the events from what happened all that time ago through through disjointed flashback cutscenes. And you can approach anything in anything... And I don't mean that... I don't mean that as, like, an insult in any kind of way. I mean that in, like, a... You can approach the game in whatever order you want to, but because of the way that you can do that, it makes it hard to kind of really gain the full context of what exactly it was that happened. So having Age of Calamity be there is a really like a great thing, I think, for the actual like story of what Breath of the Wild is. The question I was going to ask earlier, and this is really not like, this isn't like a question that's going to have a definitive answer at this point, but do you think that they're going to call the sequel to Breath of the Wild 2, or do you think that they're going to have, like, I don't know why, because we've only gotten that one, like, tone trailer so far, right? So I kind of want them to call it Death of the Wild for some reason, like, because I think that'd be really cool. I don't know,
I don't know.
Yeah, okay, because like the costume, like, you know, the one of the tunics that you get if you do like I believe what happens is if you get all of the shrines in Breath of the Wild, you get to go to this one place that actually also had a shrine, but then there's a treasure chest right next to it, and it says, by the way, you got all the shrines, original 120, not including the DLC, and you get this wonderful tunic that's called the Hero of the Wild. I think that's what it's called. I have it. It was really cool, but I think based on what does this have to do with the title? So you know how it's called Breath of the Wild? Mm-hmm. I don't think it's going to be called Breath of the Wild 2. I think it's going to be called something of the Wild because of the tunic, because he's the hero of the wild. Mm-hmm. Granted, you know, that same Link is also the hero of Termina, who is also the hero of time. Really weird. I just feel like the closest thing I could think of would be something of the wild, because of that tunic, because that same Link, it's not there's no like time difference, kind of similar to like the dude from Phantom Hourglass / Spirit Tracks / Wind Waker. Like that's the same Link. I think this Link is gonna have because he's the hero of the wild, so I feel like he's gonna have that, at least that game. It's like a weird stretch, by the way. Don't shoot me.
I mean, it makes sense to me.
No, I think that makes sense because it's this series I think has at least from what I'm seeing and being kind of like a big fan of it, it's branding, right? So why would you change the branding on that? I think it would only make sense to either have it as like Breath of the Wild tagline something else,
Link of the Wild,
maybe like Link of the Wild. That would be nice actually.
I think it's Zelda of the Wild.
Well.
Linkle of the Wild.
Gross.
That's a good one. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't think they're gonna call it Breath of the Wild 2. You know, they did that with one game, and that was the second game ever, you know, that they created. And
I'm telling you, man,
30 plus years ago.
I'm telling you, man, Death of the Wild. That's my vote. I think that'd be a really rad name. I don't think Nintendo would do it because I don't think they want to be like, we can't say the word death in the name of our game. But still, I think Death of the Wild still sounds really good.
You would have to send like a cease and desist or something to get us.
Yeah.
Good.
So who knows? And hopefully we'll see that game next year. There's obviously no plans, but you know, the team working on it said, you know, give us a little bit of time. So what bit means bit of time? Who knows? But hopefully we'll see something in the next year or so.
Honestly,
$5 on Filipino time.
At this point, like, I'm willing to give whatever developer however much time they need.
I know, because
Anyway. What else have you been up to, Bree?
Yeah.
So other than that, game-wise, I will be talking about this a little bit later. I started playing a game called Calico. It is a new game that just came out by the developers called Peachy Keen. They were announced at the Indie World that just happened here on Tuesday. So it came out for the Switch, and it also came out on PC. I'm playing it on PC, and I just started, but it is a very cutesy game.
That game looks adorable.
It is very adorable, I will say. They definitely suckered me in with the just very kawaii aesthetic. Like, you start out in a cherry blossom forest, and it's wonderful. Basically, the whole premise is you are the niece of a woman who owns a cat cafe. She's retiring, and you need to help start the cat cafe and like get animals and to like hang out in your cafe, make pastries, and like just run around the town and like do cute things. You can like dress up your character. So it's a community simulator is what they're like selling it as. Really, I just bought it because it was cute, and you can pick up the animals.
I love the way that you hold the cats. Like the cats.
Yeah, you like hold it out in front of you.
And like the cats are so chunky, and you just hold them like this, and I'm just like, chonk.
They're very chonk. Very, very much so.
I'm a huge sucker for fat cats because I got one, and she's fat. I'm excited.
They got them in Calico. You can also, there's all sorts of animals that like I've seen in the trailer I haven't discovered yet, but you can like pick up little baby bear cubs. There's foxes, which makes me very excited. You can ride on some of the animals too. Like you can like mount a fox or a giant cat. There's a giant cat somewhere that you can just mount and like run around the island of Calico. So just overall very cute. I will say I can't really give it like too much of a review because I've only played for about a half hour, 45 minutes so far. I literally bought it the day it came out and just like took some time to play it. That game does recommend that you play it with a controller. And I have it on PC. Luckily I have a USB controller that I'm going to test out on it. So I'm they developed this game specifically for controllers, so I want to say that probably working just on a keyboard probably isn't the best experience, and from my personal playthrough right now, it did seem a little buggy playing on the keyboard. So I'm going to definitely switch over to a controller and see if maybe some of the first week like bugs kind of go away. There was just a few things like I don't know if it's intentional, but it seems like some of the movements, like when I picked up the cat, like the movement was a little weird and a little glitchy. So there's like those little things, but otherwise, if you like cute stuff, I would say try it. It's also it wasn't that expensive. It was like $11.99, so I felt that it was worth it. So I'm gonna keep playing it, and maybe down the line I'll have I'll report back.
Let us know
and let
your
everyone
report
know.
on playing with cats. And stuff.
I will.
That sounds like my everyday life. That dog. Like, hey.
It's basically Carlo just at home. Like that. This game is his life.
Carlo Simulator.
Just maybe not so pink and sparkly. I don't know.
Oh man, I wish I were pink and sparkly. I'd be a unicorn.
Get on that. Yeah. That's it for games. If we want to go into like what I've been watching a couple different shows. So if anyone who remembers from last week, I admittedly said that I don't really like Star Wars. But I have been watching The Mandalorian.
Hell yeah.
And it is very good.
There you go.
I very much so like it. So we've been keeping up with it every week when it comes out. And I believe tomorrow is the series finale. So right before Christmas, we get a nice little Mandalorian season finale. I know it's going to be a giant cliffhanger, just like the first season was. So otherwise, yeah, I think that show is pretty good, especially for someone who doesn't like Star Wars. I think they appeal to the masses pretty well.
Yeah,
a lot of us don't.
I'm an episode behind now at this point, so I haven't seen last week's episode, and I haven't seen tomorrow's episode yet.
It's more than what I have. I haven't watched any of it because I haven't had time for TV. So
it's really good, dude. Like honestly, they do a really great job with it. Like surprisingly, like I know that the Star Wars movies have kind of been polarizing over the past few entries, to say the least.
Yeah, I think that actually really. I think the Mandalorian kind of saved the Star Wars thing a little bit there, because I mean, if there's a movie, gosh, like because the movie, like I think the Rise of Skywalker was admittedly a lot worse than The Last Jedi, and like The Last Jedi looks like an Emmy award like movie. Like should have won an Oscar. Compared to that. But that's me.
I am a Last Jedi apologist because I actually liked The Last Jedi.
That's fair. It was okay. I liked it too.
I think the thing about Last Jedi is that it sets up with a lot of really interesting themes, but they don't commit to any of it because it's the second in a trilogy of movies where the next movie is not going to be directed by the same person who did the second movie. So if Rian Johnson had been the director for the third movie in this trilogy, maybe he would have been a little bit more comfortable actually committing to the interesting themes that he had set up in Last Jedi. But because of that situation, I think there was a lot of things of like, oh, let's try to like kind of hint at these things and see if maybe the next director will like take me up on these ideas. But they just didn't, because people just very strongly disliked The Last Jedi, so that's disappointing. But overall, I think the new trilogy is not bad. I just don't think it's good. You know, it's like it's like a solid, like pulpy sci-fi movie. You know, it's just like, yeah, this is cool. Like this is like it is the Marvel. I mean, it's sci-fi Marvel. You know, it's just like I'm not gonna.
Yeah, but most of us actually appreciated, the Infinity Wars.
Oh yeah, I mean, I
never saw it.
I mean, I appreciate Infinity War and I appreciate Marvel and everything, but like at the end of the day, it's just they're popcorn flicks, and I think we try to take Star Wars too seriously, and I was like, dude, it's fucking Star Wars, Well,
there's definitely those people out there who are like, this is like they're very, very serious. My husband, who can't hear me, he's very serious about the original 3.
Hey.
So
I mean,
yeah, right.
Yeah. But
yeah.
So
it's okay.
I
was at
the is like good with keeping attention. Sorry, I cut you off, Carlo. What were you saying?
No, it's just just talking about just Star Wars stuff. I just remember I was doing Christmas shopping just this past week with my wife, and I was grabbing these knockoff Star Wars lightsabers because it's Walmart, right? Because it's like it's bootleg everything, and I was like grabbed some 2 lightsabers, and I accidentally I was spinning them around like a cool person, and then I hit stuff from the shelf by accident, and then my wife looked at me like, well, what the hell? And I'm like, well, I felt really cool, but I mean, like, Star Wars just had culturally, Star Wars did so much for like those people, those generations, and I think what's like excluding like all the bull crap that that the actual movies are, it's Star Wars is such a huge generational thing. Like, as long as you were born in like the 70s or whatever, you got to enjoy Star Wars at every age. Like even people not like we were born, like I was at least born in 1992, right? So episode 1 wasn't even thought of, fortunately enough. And even then it's like we got to enjoy that trilogy of Star Wars, and it was just this huge thing that at least if we wanted to have connections with people in the older generations, we got to watch. It's like we got to watch all of the Star Wars, and I was born in 92, but I still enjoy the Star Wars that I never got to watch live. That came out way before. So I think it's just really cool. And I will say this, the ones that came out within the past 5 years, that's someone's first StarCraft. Wow, Star Wars.
Yeah,
that's someone's first Star Wars.
That's their first StarCraft.
Yeah. Oh boy, Blizzard. Yeah, but that's their first Star Wars. So like our generation hated the original trilogy because, yeah, whatever. They didn't like it as much. And then we ended up seeing the old one. So like that's something we get to share. Like we get to see like the younger generation. I hate saying this as a 28-year-old. The younger generation like actually appreciating what the current Star Wars is, and then they get to look back and see like, oh yeah, these Star Wars are pretty cool, except that one with the pod racers.
Now this is pod racing.
And also Ewan McGregor being Ewan McGregor and saving the show, like the entire movie. That him and Mace Windu.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I always forget that I'm the baby of this group, like because I always think that we're like the same age. Like
I do too.
I'm 25 over here. It's like I am the baby.
Is that the cut? Like I don't remember. Like what is the cutoff for millennial now?
I'm technically a millennial.
You're a millennial.
The cutoff is 94 from what I've heard.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not the one that gave those statuses and stuff. I'm just living it.
That's also true.
As the child, everybody must refer to me as Grogu from now on.
Grogu.
I
am burlap sack.
I am the child.
What else you got here, Bree? I heard you said you were. Did you talk about Lore Olympus yet, or I thought you?
No, not yet.
I'm kind of curious to what this is.
Yeah, have you heard of it?
I've heard bits and pieces, and some of it's from you actually. But I wanted you to I wanted to hear more in detail.
Yeah, awesome.
About it.
So there is a app called Webtoon. You guys familiar?
I know the name.
Okay, so it's basically where you get to read independent comic series from artists, and there is a ton out there. I did not start using Webtoon until the summer. I had, there was a pandemic, and I was back
there
home.
Was? What?
No, there was a pandemic. Here it is.
First I've heard about it.
I know, right? Just us nerds staying at home anyway.
Yeah.
What do we know?
What's the difference?
I don't even know what outside looks like.
There's snow.
That seems true. I'm kidding.
I mean,
I'm just kidding. Anyway, so I had a lot of time. I can't talk. I literally don't look like I see sun because I'm translucent. You can't you can see my veins and everything. That's how white I am. Anyway. Yeah, so I had a lot of time to dabble on Webtoon. I found some really cool, different series on there that I'm like a diehard fan. And Lore Olympus is one of them. I did I wouldn't say a speed run, but I binged Lore Olympus a couple weeks ago. I know you two know this story, but here in Oklahoma, we had a terrible ice storm about 3 weeks ago.
Oof.
And we lost our power, and we ended up losing our power for 2 weeks. And all I had to really, I didn't have internet or anything at home, so I was going out to cafes to work, and I figured, well, I don't have entertainment while I'm home now because I don't have the power. I'm going to, while I'm working at these cafes, I'm going to download Lore Olympus because I've been meaning to read it. I heard a lot of great reviews. So I downloaded the whole series of Lore Olympus, which at the time was 130 episodes, and I read them in 4 days.
Damn.
So anyway, it is the story of the romance between Persephone and Hades, which, if anyone knows their Greek mythology, might know a little bit more about that.
Or if they've played Hades this year.
I was saying, it sounds like Hades, but a book.
Yeah, well, this is another reason I actually want to play the game Hades. I was already interested when it got announced at the last Indie World in September, I think. And I was like, oh, that game looks so dope. And then I started reading Lore Olympus. Yeah, exactly. So I started reading Lore Olympus, and I was like, oh my god, now I want to read it even more. but yeah, it's basically the story of Hades and Persephone. I don't know how like close it is to the like mythology stories. But it seems like the author is very well researched, and her art style is honestly like unlike anything I've ever seen. I really, really enjoy her art style. So yeah, so it's a series that I really enjoy. I'm trying to think if there's like anything else particular with that. There's a lot of drama. It is very funny at times, and then obviously it's a romance, so you have that romance element to it that like keeps building up and building up and building up. And the author is really nice because she eventually like right now we're getting to some of the more romantic part of it while there's still a lot of drama and just like shit going on with the gods, but you basically get to see what the gods and goddesses are doing after hours, and just like what their life is like, and it's really interesting. Like there's just
sounds interesting.
So much drama, so much shit. The relationship between Zeus and Hera is probably my second favorite. It is fucking hilarious.
It's gotta be
I know that like I was gonna say because like I know like from what I know of Greek mythology, a lot of it consists of Zeus not using a Trojan condom.
But... Yeah, exactly.
Oh yes, and that gets brought up in Lore Olympus a lot. Perfect. And it's great because there will be like just episodes where he's trying to get his brothers Hades and Poseidon to like hide the fact that they're in the human world, and he's off with some like lady he just met, and now we got a demigod.
Yeah,
gotta watch out.
It's so
I see that Warhola is saying that Zeus and Hera are the worst couple ever. So toxic. They are very toxic, but it makes for some very hilarious content in Lore Olympus.
Most of the couples in Greek mythology are very toxic.
That's what I've heard. I think there was one with God, I can't remember, but it was another. I actually learned this from Fate Grand Order, by the way. It was shoot, I can't remember the names anymore. I'm so sad. Because you learn a lot from a lot of different like anime and like games and stuff, right? Especially like because I learned a lot about Chinese history from the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, aka Dynasty Warriors. And so when I got to play Fate Grand Order, which by the way, if you want to have money, don't play Fate Grand Order on your phone. But what's really cool about it is that they have like so many different characters and Greek heroes, which I find funny that like especially in this game they don't have those mythological heroes, but they have like the ones you expect, right? But you have like Heracles, for example, but like the actual story of excuse me, Hercules. And I think what's really cool about it is they change it into a little bit of an anime form, but a lot of the characters are pretty like spot on with like some of the historical shenanigans. And I believe I found her. Penthesilea is the one I was talking about, and there's a character whose name is Achilles. There it is. She's the Amazonian queen of Greek mythology. She's the daughter of Ares, and she's also sisters. She has multiple sisters, one of them being Hippolyta. But yeah, basically she has a huge rage since she's the daughter of Ares, of all people. You know, like she was super pissed at Achilles because Achilles was like being a complete dick about it. So I mean, I think that's how that went. But that's just based on what I see from the game. But I really do like Fate Grand Order because they do have a lot of those historical things. I actually looked it up on my phone, so I feel really good about it. But yeah, no, I like some of the Greek history stuff, like not Disneyfied, because Disney likes to do that. Yeah, and it's really cool. Like they really go in depth about it.
Yeah, for sure. And I think to that note, if you don't want something like cutesy and Disneyfied, Lore Olympus, I think I would definitely recommend it. It definitely has some adult themes, and I think it it can be very intense at points. I'll say that the author is graceful enough to put trigger warnings, which is great. But there's a lot of like comedy to it too. So I do enjoy that. And like I said, I fished 130 episodes on Webtoon in like 4 days. And I'm all caught up now, so I'm very excited to see the next episode come out this Saturday.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, but that's it for me this week, guys. Kyle, what have you been up to?
Well, I played a little bit of Genshin, not too terribly much, really, mostly just to log in, kind of do my dailies, and then just do a roll, and then I was out. I got a new character this week. I got Razor. So now I have both the JoJo characters between Razor and Fischl, so all's right with the world. But really, that's all I did in Genshin this week, so I won't take a lot of time doing that. Yesterday, I finished Call of the Sea, which, if you tuned in last week, you heard me kind of just, like, spill my guts about how much I loved the first 2 hours. So I finished it yesterday. I played the entire game in 2 sittings, basically. It's like a 5-hour game. That game is incredible. Legitimately, again, yet another game that was not even on my radar, but now it's... Call of the Sea is my new game of the year, until you hear me say otherwise. Call of the Sea is phenomenal. I think every little aspect about that game is just top-notch. Like, legitimately for me, that game is a 10 out of 10. I don't give perfect scores to games, like, ever, but I think that game is damn near perfect.
Yeah.
There were a couple of glitches I ran into later in the game, but like they were very minimal things that I was able to get over and fix within like seconds. Didn't even have to quit out of the game or anything like that. The voice acting in that game is phenomenal. You really only so for the most part in that game, you're really only getting Nora, the character that you're playing. You're getting her perspective and her thoughts on what's going on. But you will find tape recordings from the expedition that you're following, from Harry, her husband's expedition. You're finding tape recordings of their conversations. You're finding letters from Harry, and they're fully read by the voice actor who plays Harry, who is actually Yuri Lowenthal.
Yuri Lowenthal. Okay, sorry.
So Spider-Man himself.
Sasuke.
And God, what is the voice actress that played Nora's name? I believe,
You still looking for it?
Yeah, I believe I know who it is. I believe it's Sissy Jones.
There's somebody asked why we like Dark Demon Evil Curse 666 asked why we like video games, and I wanted to just respond like, I think especially like as a kid, that was just one of my favorite things to do, like to have, like video gaming. Like I enjoyed bowling and martial arts, like kind of like a typical other person who likes to do like physical stuff, like as a kid. But then video gaming was just so great because to me it's kind of similar to like reading a book. And I have ADD, so it's hard to read for extended period of times, which made this, by the way, a lot harder for college. But yeah, I enjoy video games because it's like putting yourself in a different story, putting yourself in like the shoes of the character, depending if you are into said character. It's kind of nice. It's like the people who have their love for Harry Potter, unfortunately Twilight, 50 Shades of Grey, if you want to go that far. But like even like those are like well-known series, right? Unfortunately for 50 Shades of Grey. But if you really like, if you like stories at least, and you like video games, I think it kind of just works out pretty well. That's just my answer.
So yeah, Nora is voiced by Sissy Jones.
Yes.
The music in that game is phenomenal. Like, so it's hard to talk about the game because it's so short and it's so narrative focused that I don't want to talk about some of the things that you do in the game. And like, there's no combat at all in the game. It's all puzzle based, and you kind of just like unraveling this mystery as you play. And it's tough to talk about some of like the later stuff in there because it's spoilers. And again, very short game. I did find out that it is on, so it's only on PC and Xbox right now. It is a console exclusive on Xbox. You can get it on Steam. It's $20. So highly recommend. If you have Game Pass, it's both on the console version of Game Pass and the PC version of Game Pass. So there's a lot of really cool sequences in that game. Some kind of trippy stuff that is like where Nora basically goes unconscious and it seems like she's dreaming, but maybe she's not dreaming at the same time. That kind of like stuff. It's really, really cool. And then at the end of the game, there's a choice that you have to make based off of the information that you get through your journey. So for anybody who didn't tune in last week, the premise of Call of the Sea is that you play as a character named Nora and set in 1934. She goes in search for her husband Harry, who went on a expedition to find a cure for this disease that has plagued Nora and her family for generations, to the point where Nora's family considers it to be a curse. And so, but at some point, Harry stops writing letters to Nora, and so she's wondering what happened to him. So she goes in search of finding Harry, and along the way, she finds a lot of information about what happened on his expedition on this deserted island, and just a lot of information about who she is as a character. And so at the very end of the game, you're given a choice. And I had a ridiculously hard time making a decision on that. I don't even know, even after I made my choice, I went back and I watched the other ending on YouTube, and I don't know which one is the good ending. I don't think that there is a good ending in this game, but there's not a bad ending either. They're both good and bad for different reasons, and it just wrecks shop. Like, I was so emotional when I got done playing it. And then so the end credits. Throughout the game, you find letters from Harry. Like, it seems like they were letters that Harry meant to send to Nora, but never did. And they're like sealed letter, and she opens it up and she reads it, and they are and they're narrated by Yuri Lowenthal as Harry. And they have a pet name for each other, and it's the pet name My Dear Old Pal. And
cute.
You find out at the end of the game, when the credits start playing, that My Dear Old Pal is the name of their song, and they sing it in a duet with a piano backing at the end of it, and it's playing while the credits roll. And there's two different versions of the song that you could get depending on which ending you chose. And I listened to the version that came with the ending that I got. I cried. And then I listened to the other version, and I cried even harder because it is emotional. It is emotional. And I didn't expect to get this like emotionally attached to this game.
Yeah.
But everything about it is just amazing. Please go play Call of the Sea. It is fantastic. It's on Game Pass on Xbox, and it's only $20 if you don't have Game Pass. Other than that, really, the big thing that I've been kind of doing this week, I got a new phone. I got the iPhone 12 Pro Max, and kind of just like trying to explore how exactly. So I went from an iPhone 8 to the iPhone 12, and it's a big difference not having the home button. Also, like going from having the Touch ID to having the Face ID, it feels really weird, and I'm still not quite used to it. But I mean, overall, I think
IDs are weird.
It's really cool. It's really cool. I like it. I'm still trying to get used to having such a big phone. It's a lot bigger than the regular 8. But yeah, I mean, other than that, like, I just kind of started reading. A while ago I started reading JoJolion, aka JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 8. I started reading it, but I kind of just fell off because I got distracted with other things, and so I started rereading up to where I was. I'm not very far in. It's really fucking weird, but it's a lot better than I was expecting. I have this problem with every part of JoJo where I kind of base on like what I think if I'm going to like the part based off of the JoJo's design, and never judge a JoJo by his cover, basically, is kind of what I've gotten to. It's like, because it always ends up biting me in the ass.
That's what I do.
I will see what the JoJo looks like for the next part, and I'm just like, I don't know if I like this design, and then I actually start watching it or reading it, and I'm like, oh, okay, fuck, I love this character, like, what the hell? And then if it's the opposite, I'm like, oh, cool, I really like this JoJo's design, and then I read it, I'm just like, God damn it, like, he's so boring. Like, controversial opinion here as a JoJo fan, Giorno Giovanna is boring as fuck. He is so boring in comparison to all of the other characters that are around him. He's got the best theme song, though. He's got the best theme song in all of JoJo. The piano theme, the dun dun. Didn't
you make me play that on one of my Osu streams?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, that was one. Okay, yeah. It was okay. It was a good banger. It was a.
That's Giorno's theme, and it's probably the best one. Jotaro's theme is also very good, but it's like good for different reasons. Just not as good as Giorno's, I think. But yeah, I mean, that's really what I've been up to this week. It's been a hell of a week for me, so I didn't really play as much or do as much as I did previously. But Carlo, what have you been up to?
I've been doing a lot of things, I guess. So before I go into esports stuff, right? Like, I've been playing a lot of Genshin as well. It's got a bit of lull, like you guys. I think you guys are understanding, because it's December 23rd is when the new stuff is coming out, and so I'm just kind of doing my thing where trying to power up my Mona that nobody else has.
What are you at right now with her?
Oh, I've been at 80 the entire time. I'm just trying to power up other people at this point to have her caught up and stuff. I think her attack is like at 1.9k, which is nice. I feel very proud of myself. So there's that. I'm waiting for that release on December 23rd. If you haven't done so, though, like, there are some pretty nifty free things, like Bree had said before. So if you guys want like Prima Gems, do some of those event quests, or I think there was those code things that I cannot remember the actual site for, but you can put those codes in and get like free Prima Gems, which they even gave out like 800 Prima Gems for the Game Awards, and they even had this nice note. Mihoyo was like, "We didn't win, but we got nominated, but we were on like the world stage for a while, so thanks." And they're like, "Here's like half of 10 wishes." I was like, "Thank you." Thank you very much. Kind. It was very kind of them. Plus, like an extra like they had like an extra for some of these codes. They were like 350 total, and there was like 4 codes with them, and so that's like 3/4 of your wishes right there. Like, does it feel like we're in a cult? Yes, I think it does feel like we're in a cult sometimes. The Somnium Files. For those of you guys who really like Genshin or don't, you don't have to. This is the game that I'm talking about right now. If my light wasn't being super silly, so what this game is, it's really, again, if you didn't hear from me last week, there's a lot of the voice actors, the voice work from Genshin that are in Genshin are from this game, and this game is like, if you like Zero Escape, Spike Chunsoft does it really. Yeah, I'm playing through this right now. I'm Kyle. Kyle. He also was with me at a specific point where my brain wanted to melt into like butter. So that was really weird. Like every answer, It was so wild, dude. I saw some stuff. And it's the art director of Fire Emblem. I completely forgot about that. That's another reason why I enjoy it. But yeah, so I will be playing that on my streams. Still continuing. Pretty soon. What another thing that I know people have been complaining about, but I personally am enjoying, is Cyberpunk 2077. So what that entails, and I see Kyle's just like, oh god. I enjoyed the first 20 minutes of it because I do like the voice acting work that was in the game. I'm a huge voice actor person, dude, who likes to do and listen to voice actor things. Shirami Lee is the voice of female V, and Gavin Drea the voice of male V. And what I really like about it, when at least the first 20 minutes I played, was you got to just like play around with either where you want to start, kind of similar to how it was for Mass Effect. But the thing is, you actually start at a specific place rather than you have the same place, but like a different backstory. You have a different backstory and a different place you start off. And I thought like just the variety of it's cool. And this is excluding all the bugs and all the shenanigans that we'll get into in a little bit. So, I like the grainy effect that you get to see through the game as well. Like that actually has that retro feel. And I thought, well, this makes sense for Cyberpunk because that was, I think, originally like a retro-ish game at some capacity. So for what it's worth, I didn't play as long as a lot of other people, but the first 20 minutes of it was pretty satisfying, to say the least. So I'm okay with it. I'm pretty sure I'm going to run into all the issues about penis clipping onto walls and stuff like that. But, I'm Asian, so I never have that issue anyway.
God damn it, Carlo.
The last game I've been playing is Super Smash Brothers, because if you guys haven't heard, Sephiroth actually dropped today. Saw that showcase, and that was pretty solid. I thought that was I think Smash has a good character in the DLC list again. That's not Joker, and I'll go into more detail about that later. But I've been starting to enjoy Smash a little bit more again with that. Reading, I'm trying to like keep it going because I don't want to like go over time.
Right.
This is the book of esports, which is really cool. It's a book about esports, and by William Collis. So what it is, it just kind of gives like a definite guide of what modern world and of competitive gaming is. And I thought this was really cool because it's the director of esports at Alba, and I just decided, hey, I need to make sure I have all the information and all the ideas that I need to make sure that the program that I start is running well. So I mean, I thought that was pretty cool. And he talks about like how whether you're like if you're a lifelong gamer, if you're someone who's just the parent of some kid who plays Fortnite, like this book kind of just tries to like give interviews and information based on a lot of the people who are in the industry. And even like organizations too. I think I can't remember what it was. Like they talk about Overwatch at one point. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh yeah, up until like 2014, esports teams, esports in games have made money using like there's this thing called the BAMS model, which I lost my page for it, but they talk about this thing called the BAMS model, and if you get this book, you get to read all of it. Like I haven't started reading it yet. I just read the back and probably a little of this section, but I thought it was really nice to give a good insight as to how highly competitive gaming differs from the casual gaming that a lot of us do. Because and it's one of those, it gives it like a nice thing because a lot of people like kind of write off esports like, oh, it's just a bunch of kids playing games. Yes and no. Yes, there's a bunch of kids playing games, but the differences between them and like a lot of these beginner people are like a lot of the casual players are the mindset and the mentality, the growth that they want to achieve from competition. You look at it basically similar to like why do we consider chess a sport? Right? Like you don't do anything physical. You move your arm, right? But you're doing the things that are necessary that is required in the definitions of a sport, and chess does that mentally. Same with video gaming, esports, competitive gaming. You have to do, I look at it as like fast-paced chess. I think setting up teams, I look at it as either a track team, a cross-country team, a gymnastics team, or even hell, even like wrestling, and sometimes you could do band, right? Like you could actually extend some of those ideas from band. There's so many things that esports does that a lot of people don't like consider, and I thought this is a good book that kind of like opens up what those discussions, that discourse in between the separation between a casual gamer and a competitive gamer, because I guess I have another example would be, hey, look, we have a guy who's playing, like, you got the person who's playing a pickup game of basketball at the Y, right? And then you have the other person who's playing in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
Like you know the differences. Like, yeah, everybody can generally. Everybody can do that if they want to do it. Like if they want to play pickup games, but like not everybody goes into competitive games as often as those. And even like the semi-professional, where you have those leagues, right?
Right.
You have those small, like you have those, not like the best thing I can think of is bowling, when you have those weekly bowling matches where you have to face the other team, and I look at it that way, where that's kind of like not even semi-professional, that's like amateur, but like it's still in that competitive scale of you're just doing it casually, right? And then there's a lot of people who are in those like amateur to semi-professional leagues who are still doing their best to actually improve, which again, right there, that line separates from the mindset of competing esports athletes. I use Fortnite. I use Fortnite, like, and I gave this example to someone recently. I used Fortnite as, and here's the thing, I look at Fortnite as I do not like Fortnite. It is such an awful game. However, as someone looking at it in a different view, taking away my personal things, I absolutely appreciate Fortnite for what it has done for the esports realm, especially within the past 5 years, because it made everything explode into like a great place. Like a lot of what esports is now, a lot of that wouldn't be where it is without Fortnite, and it could have been any other game, to be honest, but it would have taken a lot longer. Fortnite appealed to the kids so hard that, you know, esports kind of went up. So
yeah,
I look at Fortnite as that little league baseball team down the street in your neighborhood. Like that's what Fortnite is doing. It's for the kids, right? Like my little brother, who's now like 10, he's kind of like playing Valorant now. But if it wasn't for Fortnite, he wouldn't have been into like Rocket League. He wouldn't have been into like Smash. He wouldn't have been into like Valorant. Like Fortnite kind of got him started. As much as I tried to get him with Smash, it's just these are the types of things that, like, do we appreciate what it's done? Absolutely. But Fortnite is such a weird esport, and it's definitely something for kids for sure.
Right.
But definitely a good time.
That makes sense.
You're an esports athlete. Would you rather robot arms for perfect mechanics or robot? I want the robot brain, man. As long as my arms can keep up. I feel like it wouldn't, because just like you could be like, thank you, happy holidays. I feel like it would be like if I had the robot arms, right? It's like if my brain is too slow, I'll feel like Naruto, you know, without the foxtail powers, like without controlling his foxtail powers. But if I had the robot brain, I feel like Sasuke, but would still get bodied by like Rock Lee when he first meets him, like outside the testing center. He's like, oh yeah, his eyes move so fast, but his body doesn't. And then Rock Lee proceeds to like show him Bruce Lee moves the entire time, which was kind of great. I remember that episode. It was like years.
Carlo,
yeah. So there's, yeah, I added something. Since you brought up webtoons, I've been reading this thing from Lily Dusk called Midnight Poppyland, and it is probably the cutest thing. It's the cutest thing I had read in the past, like romance wise, because I rarely read a lot of manga, because I've been playing a lot more games than I should be. But what it's about is that you got this like Yakuza guy, who's just there, and he ends up actually accidentally having a run-in with the main protagonist. Her name is Poppy, And yes, see, someone gets it. And like a lot of things happen between the two by accident or like miscommunication or whatever. But then this recent chapter just blew my brains out because it was adorable, and I was like, yes, it happened. It happened. That's all I'm gonna put out. But it's just a lot of tension between the two, and I think I really appreciate the dialogue because you have this main character who kind of just got like in the beginning of the series kind of got like cheated on by her then now ex-boyfriend, and and she works for like a publishing company and has to do like a lot of those contracts and stuff like that. How does she run into a Yakuza guy? Well, originally they kind of mixed up the papers, one having like some pretty super serious Yakuza papers where someone can literally die with her material for her work, which is writing. And so something happened, like a lot of miscommunication with that, but she ended up getting like a little bit better about that. He ended up getting a little bit better about that stuff. Those things were taken care of, and so now we're in like a specific area of the thing where the relationship gets to blossom, and I get to just squeal like a fangirl for a while because it was adorable. So yeah, that's right. Did we want to? So yeah, if you want to read that, Midnight Poppyland, great, really great read. If you're in for the long haul, for sure, by Lily Dusk. Can we like? Were we gonna answer any questions before we went on break?
We can if there's a. Did we miss any?
I think there was a few actually. I see a few. I see Krayax.
Yeah, we got one question that we missed earlier from a user in the chat. If you want to join us, if you're listening to this recorded, if you want to join us for our live stream, so that way you can be a part of the chat and ask us questions live, you can do so by going to twitch.tv/bits_n_pixels, and you could be just like Krayax here, who said, if by chance, could y'all talk about how to get into streaming on Twitch, or just in general? I've been thinking about it for a while, and I'm really lost. I think that's a really great question. Carlo, you and I have both been streaming for a while. I think you're obviously the one who is more experienced of the two of us. But I think it's not really hard for us to say that when it comes to doing Twitch, the best piece of advice I can say is don't overdo it. By overdo it, I mean don't overthink yourself. Don't think that you need to have some sort of amazing setup for your very first stream, because if you do that, you're going to become too monetarily invested for what you're going to have for your first product. And your stream, at the end of the day, your streams are a product. So the thing is that figure it out. Don't worry about what game it is that you want to play as much, like if it's like popular or not. Just pick a game. What game do you want to play right now? What is it that you are personally thinking, yeah, this is what I want to play and what I want to do. The hardest thing that I had to overcome when I first started streaming, because usually when I play video games, I'm silent. I don't make noise, I don't talk or anything. But when you are streaming, there's a little bit of a showmanship aspect to it of talking. And granted, your first stream or two, you might not have any people who watch. That's okay. But something that you need to get yourself into the rhythm of is talking and reacting to what's going on the screen out loud. Once you do that, it adds to the showmanship factor of it, and you'll be able to start bringing in more people, and then they'll ask questions, and then you just start, you interact with the people that are in the stream. Carlo, do you want to add on to that?
My thing is just a lot of the because like I focus a lot on the mental aspect of it, the mental health aspect, because I've gotten super tired at many points because like I had to force myself to I'd have to force myself to really like be as entertaining, and so it's taken me like I've been streaming since 2018 of fall 2018, and what I really liked about it is just like I started out doing Fate Grand Order, and Overwatch, and a lot of that's devolved into just a lot of variety now. So I play like a lot of JRPGs, and just kind of interact with people because it's taken a bit, but having just those 10 consistent people just coming up, showing up, and being like, yeah, we should probably like just just have a good time. Let's talk about the stuff. Let's
that's how Carlo
let's enjoy
and I
this game
became friends.
Exactly.
I showed up to Carlo's stream one day and I just started interacting with him while I was in his audience.
And then I found out he's a fraternity brother.
Yeah.
But and so there's like a lot of things that it just happens to happen. And what I really appreciate about it is like even I've had those times where I've been super stressed and super tired about it, but it's honestly, at least the field of work that I'm in, it's gotten me, that experience itself has lent a little bit of that has lent to being, an assistant esports coach for Smash, a director of esports at Albion College. Like that has helped me do so many things, and honestly, it's helped me talk to people. Like it's just being consistent is probably the hardest thing, and I think as much as I love streaming, like mentally, I am super glad that I did get that job because consistently, it's just I needed that mental health. Like consistency, like I needed to not be my own boss. I just need someone to tell me what to do. I always appreciate like the two in here who are always telling me like what I need to do for like this podcast every week, and it's been nice. Like I like doing things by myself for sure, and I think that's what streaming is great. But it's definitely nice to actually have, if you're dedicated enough to do it, then you'll absolutely be able to get what you want out of it, and it'll take time for sure. Like for me, I hit affiliate ship like 1 month after I started, but for some people it takes like 6 months, and they still had to get that average. So yeah, keeping consistency in life is hard, especially with a pandemic.
It's really tough. I would say my last piece of advice before we should probably go ahead and hit a break before we move into our news section, but my last piece of advice would be never stop. Like if you plan, once you set up that streaming schedule and you are planning on sticking to it, plug your stream consistently
everywhere
and everywhere you can on every piece of social media, and do it multiple times per day, because you never know when the Facebook algorithm is going to find your stuff unfavorable, because technically what you're doing posting on Facebook wants to make it so that you stay on Facebook for as long as possible. Posting a link that takes you to an external website makes you less favorable in Facebook's algorithm. So what you need to do is you need to probably, say you have a stream coming up at 7 o'clock on Wednesday night. So the moment that you wake up on Wednesday, post, say, hey, I'm going live at 7 o'clock later tonight, and drop the link. Then probably I would say at noon that day, being like, oh man, only 7 more hours until it's time for my stream, make sure that you're there. And then 4 o'clock, kind of do like a countdown system, and then when you're going live, post it again, because you never know which of those posts is actually going to show up on your friends' feeds. And those are the people that are your friends on social media are going to be the first ones that are going to tune in and support you for your streams. And that's the people that you need to bank on.
Which we do want to thank a lot of people who are here right now. You've definitely made the first time we've done this a treat. And
Absolutely.
It's just super nice to have you guys support, like a lot of you being here and stuff like that. We definitely appreciate that. We're glad that you guys are enjoying just random talks.
Yeah.
For what it's worth.
Yes, thank you. But why not we take a quick 10-minute break? Y'all can enjoy some lovely tunes, vibe out, get a snack, and we will be right back.
And we are back with some news.
Let's get into the news.
News section.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited. There's some fun things we have.
Yeah, you put out a lot of stuff for today's agenda. and I thought it was insane because it looked pretty steep.
Okay, so yes. Let's just get into it. There was a Indie World debut this Tuesday on the 15th, which announced a lot of games porting over to the Switch, or just coming to the Switch for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
So I am going to just go through this list. It is a long one. There's about, I don't know, like 15 games here, but I'm just going to give a quick recap of what type of game it is, when it's releasing. That way, if y'all are interested, you can get on that. All right, so starting off, you're ready. Great. So starting off, Super Meat Boy Forever, the sequel to Super Meat Boy, which is a action puzzle platformer.
It's hard as shit.
What is it?
Super Meat Boy is hard as shit. It's so hard.
It looks intense. I will not be playing it. But yes, the sequel is out, or it's going to be out on the 23rd of this month. So get on that. Also coming summer 2021, Spelunky and Spelunky 2 for the Switch. Both of these are exploration platformers. They look pretty cute.
Also hard as shit.
This next, also hard as shit, it sounds like. This next one is very cute, and I already prefaced it. Calico just released on the 15th, same day that the Indie World debut happened, developed by Peachy Keen Games. It is a freaking cute game. It started out on Kickstarter. Again, it's a community sim game where you get to build your own cat cafe. It is also open world, so it's an interesting open world concept for this type of game. And it is out on PC and Switch. Next on the list is Grindstone. That is a puzzle battler coming out at spring of 2021, I believe.
It's been on Apple Arcade for a while, and
okay.
I've heard a lot of people say that it's probably one of the main reasons why you should consider getting Apple Arcade. I've heard a lot of really, really good things about Grindstone.
Okay.
That's interesting.
So,
I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, the fact that it's coming to Switch seems like a really good get by them.
Yeah, interesting. This next one looks really cool. It's called Cyber Shadow, which is a ninja action game. This will be coming to the Switch January 26th of 2021. And one thing that I thought was really fun, which one of my best friends loves this game, is you can get a Shovel Knight amiibo to join into the game with you.
Yeah.
What?
So I believe it's being published by Yacht Games, who made Shovel Knight. And it's got it set up. So the thing with Cyber Shadow is that it looks like it's in the vein of like a Metroidvania kind of like. It's definitely exudes some Shovel Knight type vibes, but it's also a little bit Ninja Gaiden as well. And if you scan one of the Shovel Knight amiibos, either the Shovel Knight, Plague Knight, Spectre Knight, King Knight, any of them, you get like a little like basically like familiar kind of like robot buddy that looks like that knight, and they each have different like abilities and stuff. Yeah, Baz Knight win. Right, exactly, Michael.
Yeah, so that's really cool. There is a really awesome game by Leap Game Studios called Toonche, which is a 2D beat-em-up game. That is coming out March 2021. I know I'm going through this list kind of quick. I don't want to spend a whole ton of time, but you can see indie game debut by going to Nintendo, or if you have a Switch, you can go on your Switch and see the video there. So I'm just going to quickly go through these. I will say Toonche is on my list of games that I want to buy, so it looks really good. And representation, so I'm really glad to see this game come out. A really silly game called Very Very Valet is coming early 2021 to the Switch. It is a co-op party game where they quote, where a license is not necessary. So it just sounds like a silly goose time. You basically just pick up things in your car, and you're just I don't know. It just looks like a crazy driving game, but you have to pick up different things.
So I
okay.
Yeah, so I wrote an article about Very Very Valet and like looking at like the stuff for it. It looks like the couch co-op like party kind of game. Like if you like Overcooked, like the game Overcooked, it looks a lot like that, except it's with like valeting cars rather than like preparing meals and stuff.
Got it.
It looks like a lot like that formula, and honestly, it looks like a really fun time.
Yeah, it definitely looks like something that you just want to like hang out with someone and just be ridiculous with.
Mm-hmm. It reminds me of Mario Party back in college with friends. But anyways, there's a lot of different party games.
Another one that I think could be considered maybe not a party game, but something that would be fun to play with others online is Fisty Fluffs. It is a physics-based kitty fighting game where you get to be kitty cats and dress them up and fight each other like the wild banshees that cats are.
Carlos, so are you going to have a Fist of Fluffs program as part of your esports division?
Probably. I'm still trying to get that Genshin one going, so you gotta give me a bit there.
Good.
If you get Fisty Fluffs, I will apply.
I got you guys.
Go back to school literally just to be on your Fist of Fluffs team.
Yeah, no, I'm here for it.
Okay.
I already have a ton of debt anyway, so...
I got two out of like 5 probably. I'm not sure how that works.
I already think that me and Axel are like your like 2 top recruits if you end up getting it. If Genshin adds like a competitive element to it, like
I think I would actually.
Like,
I think I'll just do that. I think I'll just have you guys. I'll just make sure you guys are ready to go, and then we'll just like travel the countryside and just own people with Klee and Diluc the entire time.
Yeah, that's literally all it is.
Yes.
Just hit. Okay, I got you, fam. I got you. Oh.
Next on this list is Happy Game, which I will just say from seeing the trailer, it is not a happy game.
No.
No.
It's got a very much like a psychological horror kind of vibe.
Yeah, definitely. It's a bit creepy, but if you're into that, it's coming out spring 2021. This next one is Hoa.
Oh, that is so weird.
Did you look at it?
I'm looking at
that Happy Game.
God, that's like creepy.
Are you on the website?
I'm on Steam. Yeah, that is so creepy. And
then
just the images.
Go to the developer website. It's kind of weird.
Amanita Design. Is that it?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. It's just creepy vibes. I'm not into it. Bye.
Yeah.
Okay. No. That's
exactly. Yep.
We're not putting that on the video. You guys don't want to see that.
That's gonna be.
You're gonna edit this, aren't you? Oh God, that is creepy. All right.
On the flip side, there's a really beautiful game called Hoa coming out. This has very beautiful, like painted scenery and illustrated look to it. It's very pretty, so I'm interested to look more into that game. And that is a puzzle platformer, which is coming out April 2021. So in a couple months. Another game that I'm actually really excited about is Alba, a wildlife adventure.
I've heard good things about this game.
Open world. Yes, it looks really cute, very fun, and it has a great message to it too. So it's an open world adventure game, which is basically centered around like environment and wildlife preservation, and the goal is to get some of your townsfolk to help volunteer to like clean up the beaches and that sort of thing. So it's got a nice little touch to it. So it'll be out in spring. This game looks pretty interesting. I think it's probably been out for a while, but it's coming to the Switch in early 2021, whatever year that's supposed to be, called Nosia. It's a sci-fi adventure game. Does that sound familiar to anybody?
No, I've never heard of it.
So it initially released in 2019 on the PlayStation Vita, but now it's coming to the Switch. Okay. So it's interesting. Like it kind of gives me like a vibe of like, what if Among Us was a visual novel? That's kind of the vibe that I got from it.
Okay.
according to according to US Gamer, Nosia is essentially a single-player version of popular social deduction games like Werewolf or Mafia, made famous by current mainstays like Among Us. Each playthrough takes roughly 5 to 15 minutes. You can customize the number of Nosia, the imposters, and other roles. So it's all like a single-player experience of you just trying to deduce who is the imposter. So...
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. There you go.
Yeah.
There's that on that. Another beautifully illustrated game, When the Past Was Around, that actually released on Tuesday during the debut. It's a point-and-click puzzle game, but it's based around a young woman who's kind of remembering her past relationship and just some things that have happened in her life. And I think it's fairly short, only a couple hours, but it just looks really beautiful. So
yeah,
one thing that I'm excited about. Another one, Finding Paradise, which is an adventure RPG. I don't know a whole ton about this game, but it's something that's coming out in spring. We'll also be getting Hazel Sky, another adventure action game, Cosmocrats, which is a comedy adventure game, which if you look at the Switch store, it actually makes you put in your age because they mention vodka in the title.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. So that looks kind of fun and silly. You're in space. And I want to say you're like a Soviet person where you're just working on spacecraft and drinking vodka, it looks like. So that's coming out in March. And then this last one just looks hilarious. By the title, I think it'll tell you. Trash Sailors is coming out spring 2021.
That was my nickname in college. Trash Sailor.
Sounds about right.
Wow,
I
rude.
wish that was my nickname. Yeah. No, it's like a good nickname.
She's like, you right. Wait, what?
You pretty... No, I'm just kidding.
Wow.
Just shit talking. Fine. I mean... In my group of friends, I feel like Trash Sailor would have been like a highly esteemed nickname. So there's that. But this is you can play online in local co-op, and you're basically battling for the last piece of trash in a world
fun.
that has
it looks like
gone through,
a top-down view of the game Raft, except derpier and just a lot more shenanigans.
Like looking at like the screenshots, it almost looked like Double Fine made it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. It very much has a Double Fine kind of vibe. Which is great, because I love
That's what I'm kind of like,
okay.
It looks really good. It looks really good. Like, just for what it's made.
I like the art style.
Yeah. It's like that nice cardboard, like, theater. Look at the waves that people are behind it just trying to, like, make it happen, you know?
Yeah.
It has that kind of, like, vibe.
High school production kind of vibes.
Yeah, it looks good though. And then last but not least, Among Us is announced for the Switch with cross-platform play and is out right now.
It's important to note that you do need a Nintendo Online membership to play to play online on Among Us, which is kind of a bad deal, considering that... Okay, sorry. I mean, inherently, it basically makes the Among Us on Switch the most expensive version to play.
Yeah, right?
That is very true.
It's so weird. Like, what bothers me is because it's Nintendo Online. What I'm going to have issues with their online servers is how bad... Like how big the lag is gonna be, how the latency, because like Nintendo online servers, like their Animal Crossing is honestly not that bad, but that's probably the best one. Like their Pokemon is kind of like subpar. Their Mario Kart is absolutely atrocious, but then Smash is like, and I say this from like the competitive standpoint, it's garbage. So it worries me about people who are doing Among Us, and then they have to pay that money. And it's like, you know what they could spend that money on? A copy of Among Us on, like, I don't know, PC.
Yeah,
but
that's
also,
very true. Yeah.
We were talking earlier. We had we have a pre-show meeting and everything. We were talking about this, and that's when we made the realization that you don't need to have Nintendo Online to play Fortnite or to play Rocket League online on Nintendo Switch. And granted, those games are free to play, but like Fortnite and Rocket League are two of the most like popular games in the world, and Among Us has definitely started to earn its keep among those.
It skyrocketed during the pandemic.
Exactly. So you would think that I don't know. I could go on and on about my issues with Nintendo and their business decisions, and we probably will get into that later in the news.
Yeah.
Yes. So that was it for the Indie World debut that just happened on Tuesday. I think there are definitely some good contenders in here that I personally will be playing, and I will definitely report back on Calico and let you know how that's going. Speaking of Sailor, piggybacking off of my news bit from last week, Sailor Moon is having their 25th anniversary in January. They are releasing the Bisoujo Sensei Sailor Moon Eternal movie. I talked about like the cafes that are going to be coming up in Japan. I believe actually you can have reservations there starting next week. They are doing themed weddings now. Sailor Moon themed weddings.
Really?
Yes, it is everything that you can imagine and more.
Finally, my dream of being Tuxedo Mask.
Yes.
But you didn't even do anything.
Yes.
Just kidding. I've done my duty. No.
Oh God.
Sorry. It's a piece of
good. Yes, there's going to be like Sailor Moon themed floral arrangements based on the your favorite character. You can get a moon wand bouquet, so you can carry the moon wand, which is badass. Why I didn't think about this on my wedding, I don't know. And there's Sailor Moon cookies. You get to sign a themed marriage certificate. Just all the cute things. All the cute things that are happening around Sailor Moon. Obviously, no one in this chat can do anything about that since it's in Japan. But if you were curious, weddings are being booked starting January 4th.
Unless we have fans that are here that live in Japan. Which if you do...
Have fun.
Hello.
Envy.
Welcome to the show.
But you know.
You're probably not, but it's fine.
that weird chance that hopefully you guys are, and if you are, you know, just spiritually, dude, real talk though, like I'm vicariously living through like my friends who are in Japan right now. So there's that. God, I miss that place. Harry Potter. Like I think when I went to Japan, they actually had the Universal Studios. It was coming out my first time there. It was 2014, and it was the Harry Potter world in Universal Studios. July, I think it was summer of 2014, and it was absolutely phenomenal. And I was so happy because I don't have it right now because my ex stole it. But it was my wand. My personal wand. Like, I got the Sorting Hat, I got Gryffindor, I got all that stuff. I had my very own wand that would put Harry Potter's to shame, man. Like, I was super sad when I lost that, in fairness, but that was a really awesome wand, and I really miss that a lot. I'm pretty sure, like, once my wife, by the way, when we ever get a chance to go to Japan, she's gonna love the Harry Potter world. And then we're gonna get our own wands, and she's gonna probably kick my ass or something. I don't know. You have a wand? Get out of my house. Rude. Anyways, before we continue, I'm sorry, guys. Like, this isn't part of the show, but this is Chibi. Since we're talking about Japan-themed things, she's the
Those that are listening to the audio-only version of the podcast, Carlo has a very adorable puppy in his hand.
I have 3 dogs. One of them is Munchkin.
Chibi.
Yeah, and this is my wife, I guess. But there's a dog, so there's more. Amber, Brianna, and Kyle say hi. And people in chat say hi. And also, our dog is a Patronus now.
Yeah. That sounds
Anyways. Yes, please. So this is my way, I guess. But yeah, no, like I really think that Japan has all that cool stuff. I think they even had a Super Mario World. Do you guys know about? I thought that was a
that
thing.
last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It looks great. Looks great. I wish I was there, but I'm not. So here I am. One thing that we will be able to experience eventually, there is not a date around it. It was just announced a couple days ago that Yu Yu Hakusho is turning into a Netflix live action series, and it's going to be released simultaneously in Japan and worldwide. I would like to open the floor for thoughts. Have either of you seen Yu Yu Hakusho?
No.
That was part of my childhood.
Okay, so yeah, you will have probably more thoughts and opinions on the actual story. I have also not seen it. I know of it, and I have friends who that show is very near and dear to their heart. But I have thoughts on live action series being.
When's the last time Dragon Ball had like a good live action? Oh, they never had one. That's right, because it was so bad we kind of forgot about it.
I don't think there's ever there ever been a good live action adaptation of an anime.
I think what I heard at one point, it was very opinionated. I think like Death Note surprisingly came close to that, being good.
I watched it. It was not good. I watched it.
It wasn't good.
It was
okay.
Not good. No.
I don't believe that any of them will be good. I know that's a very biased opinion, but I just don't believe that they will. I saw like a part of the Bleach live action, and I said
Bleach
nope.
live action.
Yeah, I said a good old nope.
So they did.
Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah, Full Metal Alchemist. I know they had their thing. I never even attempted to watch it. I remember actually. There's Reanime Films on YouTube. They do like these really cool renditions of the live action versions of the anime, and like one of my favorite ones was the One Punch Man live action where it was Genos versus Saitama, like first time ever. That was actually really good. Like we're talking about like live action stuff. Like when we talk about the live action stuff, I think rarely will they ever make it great. I think they'll be at this point. They're good in small quantities. Like, oh look, it's a clip of this one fighting scene, right? Or whatever. Yeah. Like it's cool for like 5 minutes, but it gets super redundant, so they'd have to figure out a way to like completely make it different. But it was just if you ever have a chance to, you guys should check it out. It's the Reanime Films version of One Punch Man, Saitama versus Genos, and the effects and the graphics for that somehow match the actual anime down and manga down to the derpiness that is Saitama, the insane seriousness that Genos is, and the amount of effects, like especially at the end when you just see like this huge ass crater behind Genos and he looks back and he's like, what the hell? Like it's super like they did those things so well, and I think Reanime Films they're so good at doing their job. They're so good at actually like recreating things. Like if people actually use them, I think they're not being used, but if people actually use them to actually make the anime film instead of, focusing on Netflix,
so
you'd have a better time.
So they did a live action JoJo.
Oh boy!
And I have not seen it. I've seen clips of it, and man, I can't get a good read on it. I can't just from the clips that I've seen, I can't get a good read on if it's like at least decent. And at this point, I'm too afraid to ask.
Okay.
And I believe it's based off of Diamond is Unbreakable JoJo Part 4, and it basically has like the first arc, and then it like cuts like so much of like in between stuff, and then automatically goes to like this next big part, and I'm just like. Just knowing that makes me very nervous about how good this might actually be.
Think about it now. There is a live action Persona 5.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
I feel like I heard of that actually.
This was actually within the year. I think I think there is. I just can't remember. I think it was like I don't know if it was like just a street performance or it was an actual like live series. But I never saw it.
Yeah.
Obviously, but it looked really interesting. I know Persona and Atlas, they usually do really well with their games. So you can't really complain too much about it. Like Persona 5 Strikers is coming out February. So I mean there's that.
Yeah, well, that's
yeah,
the thing.
sorry,
Yu Yu
that was an
Hakusho-
interesting thing.
Yeah, no, Yu Yu Hakusho actually in Japan was a playwright first. Like
I actually did not know that.
Yeah, I actually just found that out today when I was looking more into this live action series. So I don't know how well it did. I feel like a play is much different than a live action series. So who knows? We'll see. I think I'll maybe at least try, since I'm covering this bit, I might try to watch the series and maybe then watch like the live action just to see. But I am almost guaranteeing that it's going to be hot garbage.
Honestly, I know it's live action, so I know it's gonna be garbage, hot garbage.
Yeah.
But at the very least, I did definitely appreciate and watching the cartoon. Just point like I did this by myself. Okay, you guys could judge me. I would literally like point up my finger, imagine like the boogeyman was like 2 feet away from me. Point up my finger, have all the energy in my body coalesce into one, point to my finger, and yell "spirit gun" from the top of my lungs. My dad would come in and act why I'm such an idiot, and I was like, "Cause I'm your son." But it was really cool to actually like act like Yusuke, you're a Meshi. Kuwabara is too. But anyways,
I have to ask for the finger gun thing. This is a big thing in Yu-Gi-Oh with the censorship. Did they like say anything about that, or did they like? Because in Yu-Gi-Oh, if you're familiar, in Japan, the finger gun is actually a real gun, and like death is the shadow realm. So did they have anything like that for you?
I don't think they did actually, because like if they were to censor it, like that would legitimately take away from what Yusuke actually did in the first place. Like it's just it's just a lot of the other like shenanigans that I feel could have been like, I think because the entire thing dealt with death anyway, but like Shadow Realm is just like, I think what was different is like, well, okay, wait, no, on Dragon Ball Z and Yu Yu Hakusho, you're dealing with hell, literally dealing with hell, but hell is good in Dragon Balls or whatever. A lot that was like the time period of just hell. Like Goku talked with King Kai, and then he had to like in a movie he ended up like fighting someone in hell with Vegeta, by the way. Or Yu Yu Hakusho, like Botan's from hell and he becomes the ghost detective after he comes back to life. Gosh, I think there's another anime that dealt with hell, and I cannot remember. It was an old one too. But the point is just, I don't know. I don't think they actually had those issues. But then apparently Yu-Gi-Oh, even like the original like Yu-Gi-Oh, where like they would play legitimately dangerous games like borderline Russian roulette, like, or hey, we're gonna put something here. Have fun not stabbing your fingers. Like they censored that things like immediately, but when they got over to the country. So I think Yu-Gi-Oh got hit by a lot of it, but like there really hasn't been anything bad with Yu Yu Hakusho. I think everything's been roughly similar, especially Inuyasha. There we go, Inuyasha. So
yeah, I just wanted to be known for the record that while we've been talking, I turned on a clip from the live action JoJo movie. Ooh, it's bad. Ooh, it's bad.
Is it bad? I saw it. I saw you write that, and
it's bad.
I think it's clearly the problem of that you're taking like a very like an action-based animation with grandiose fighting scenes and turning it into live it just doesn't translate. Like, I'm sorry, I don't think
I'm pretty sure though
it's just not gonna work.
But I'm pretty sure that in Full Metal Alchemist, right, like live, it doesn't matter if it's live action or not. They turn that child and dog into a chimera, you will literally like cry. Okay, it's not it's hashtag too soon, but like It sucks, right? Like, we'd still get mad at that. We would absolutely still be livid when we see that happen. Because they have, like, the events, it's fine. Like, I think a lot of the events for some of the live actions are fine. But why did Avatar, The Last Airbender live action, why did that flop as hard as it did? Why did Dragon Ball Evolution flop as hard as it did?
Because the people who were making it weren't being reverent to the source material.
Yeah. Like, and I think a lot of the current, like, some of these recent, like, Overture Ong, a lot of these, like, recent live actions, like, they're getting better and better, getting those to be closer to the original. Like, so you'll see, like, One Punch Man, by Reanime Films. You'll see, some of the Persona stuff. You'll see, God, what was the recent, like Full Metal Alchemist? Like, they have, like, they're starting to get, like, their characters closer, but now it's, like, actually getting, like, the story and the shenanigans, like the effects down even better. I think there's just a lot of issues that people tend to forget. I mean, in fairness, like, Harry Potter, like, the movies suffered hard in comparison to the books, because it's always good to read books. I know, duh, right? Yeah, you should read. But, like, the movies suffered in that sense, because, like, it's similar to saying, like, oh man, it's a manga to an anime. Like, some of the stuff that's left out in Harry Potter in the movies compared to, like, the books, or, like, there's a part, and I will always bring this up, where, like, Dumbledore kind of looks at, like, Harry, and gently in the book calmly says to him, "Did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire?" Just, like, with the British accent, of course. But in the movie, Dumbledore, like, rushes to this kid like a 14-year-old boy and yell out, and I quote, "Did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire?" And he just gets so angry, right? Like, because that's completely different from, like, the book. And so, again, this is, like, translating things from, like, a manga to an anime. Even then, like, I'm pretty sure everybody's been to that point where, like, they'll read them, like, Rental Girlfriend, interesting anime, but I don't know, did he? But, like, there will be scenes from Rental Girlfriend in the manga that are completely missed in the anime that, like, I don't know if there are, but, like, that's just something that's to consider. This still doesn't, however, exonerate anybody who's creating live actions. I think they need to do a better job at getting that consistency. But there's a reason why Harry Potter did well. There's unfortunately a reason why Twilight did well. Because their books, but they still kept relatively similar to how the books had, like, in terms of theme, tone, effects, acting. And we could talk about acting, because Ewan McGregor almost roughly single-handedly saved, like, the prequel trilogies. But that's Obi-Wan. But yeah, like, that, just live actions are just super silly, and people need to do better.
True.
Yeah, that's just my 50 cents.
Yeah,
it's 50.
I'm there with you. I want to get into something super chaotic again. You want to talk a little bit about Cyberwatch?
Cyberwatch. This is Cyberwatch alert. Hey, what's up, guys? It's a podcast within a podcast. It's Kyle back here with the Cyberwatch for this week. Cyberpunk 2077 is in for some shit.
What happened, actually? Tell me more, Mr. Vivieros.
It's not how you say my last name, but I will roll with it.
I messed up. I was trying to go over something here.
December 14th, late at night, Cyberpunk puts out this message on their Twitter. Dear gamers, first of all, we would like to start by apologizing to you for not showing the game on base last-gen consoles before it premiered, and, in consequence, not allowing you to make a more informed decision about your purchase. We should have paid more attention to making it play better on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Second, we will fix bugs and crashes and improve the overall experience. The first round of updates has just been released, and the next one is coming within the next 7 days. Expect more, as we will update frequently whenever new improvements are ready. After the holidays, we'll continue working. We'll release 2 large patches, starting with patch number 1 in January. This will be followed by patch number 2 in February. Together, these should fix the most prominent problems gamers are facing on last-gen consoles. We'll be informing you about the contents of each patch ahead of their release. They won't make the game on last-gen look like it's running on a high-spec PC or next-gen console, but it will be closer to that experience than it is now. Finally, we would always like everyone who buys our games to be satisfied with their purchase. We would appreciate it if you would give us a chance, but if you are not pleased with the game on your console and don't want to wait for updates, you can opt to refund your copy. For copies purchased digitally, please use the refund system of PSN or Xbox respectively. For boxed versions, please first try to get a refund at the store where you bought the game. Should this not be possible, please contact us at helpmerefund@cdprojectred.com, and we will do our best to help you. Starting from today, you can contact us for a week up until December 21st, 2020. So...
What a hot mess.
So,
first of all, let's just talk about that opening line. We would like to start by apologizing to you for not showing the game on base last-gen consoles before it premiered, and in consequence, not allowing you to make a more informed decision about your purchase. This, to me, is a active acknowledgement that they were attempting to deceive people about the state of the game. Especially when you take into consideration, God, I should have put this in the show notes.
You good? You got this.
that, yeah.
There was a article that ran not too terribly long ago. Oh yeah, here we go, from DualShockers on November 30th. Speaking during a conference call and transcribed by Seeking Alpha, Kaczynski, one of the founders of CD Projekt, answered a question regarding the game's performance on these consoles, referring to last-gen consoles. Quote, "Of course," said Kaczynski. Quote, "A bit lower than on pros, but surprisingly good, I would say, for such a huge world. So, bit lower, but very good," when referring to how the game performs on the last-gen consoles. So, that's a lie. And there's no way, like, we should have paid more attention to making it play better on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. They were paying attention. They knew that shit was not going to fly.
Kyle, I swear to God, I feel like that where it says over 200 awards, I'm starting to think that was an effing lie.
Well, no, it's not, because the game has been in pre-production for 8 years now and has been at 8
years?
Yeah, it first got announced in 2012 and has been at E3 multiple years in a row, and the version that they were showing at that show was decent. It was good. It was good. So the 200 awards, I believe that. The thing that I can't get over with this statement is the fact that they're not apologizing for how buggy of a mess the game is, or for the fact that they tried to, like, they apologize for not showing the game on base last-gen consoles before it premiered, and in consequence not allowing you to make a more informed decision about your purchase. That's not an apology for how inexcusable of a mess this version of the game is. So let's go on to the next part of this, talking about refunds. Apparently, they did not inform Microsoft or Sony that this was going to happen, and so all week this week, since this statement came out from CD Projekt Red, people have been attempting to get their money back on the game through the digital storefront. However, they're not being allowed to, because it is, according to... PlayStation has been the biggest stickler about that, but there's been an update that we'll get to here in a second.
When has Sony ever not?
Sony has been a biggest stickler about it, saying, "We're sorry, there's nothing that we can do, because according to the PlayStation policies, if you've downloaded and you've played the game, technically it is non-refundable at that point. The only way that a game is refundable is if it is considered faulty." Now, what's the definition of faulty? In this circumstance, the definition of faulty means that it is affecting the actual hardware of your system or any of the actual technology that you own. Being a buggy mess of a game, but it doesn't affect your hardware, is not considered faulty, so it cannot be refunded by those Sony policy standards. It is really, really a shitty situation. And apparently, apparently PlayStation and Microsoft this was not ran by them, first off, so that makes it even worse. And now, so the latest development on Twitter is just amazing. Just mwah, chef's kiss. Sony has now issued a statement. The subject line for this statement is Cyberpunk 2077 refunds. Sony Interactive Entertainment strives to ensure a high level of consumer satisfaction. Therefore, we will begin to offer a full refund for all gamers who have purchased Cyberpunk 2077 via the PlayStation Store. Sony Interactive Entertainment will also be removing Cyberpunk 2077 from the PlayStation Store until further notice. Once we have confirmed that you purchased Cyberpunk 2077 via PlayStation Store, we will begin processing your refund. Please note that completion of the refund may vary based on your payment method and financial institution. Ooh, all right, man.
Yeah. Okay.
Good.
So the entire debate of the week has been, has the Cyberpunk launch been as messy as that of Fallout 76 or Anthem? And I think we just got our answer that it is now messier than Fallout 76 and Anthem.
I think I don't even know, because like I didn't even like Fallout 76. Like I didn't like Fallout 76 at all. I think the way that they had structured the game, Fallout New Vegas is arguably a lot better. But that's just me. I feel like they were just so poor in taking care of all that stuff, and it sucks because like I enjoyed like the first bit of it that I played on my PS4. I just feel bad because like, how about people who have the physical copy who are also having these same issues, you know? Like, what's going to happen with these guys?
Yeah.
Well, according to CD Projekt Red, you're supposed to try to see if you can get it refunded at the retailer you purchased it from, which is probably not going to happen. And then from there, you're supposed to get in contact. If that doesn't work, you're supposed to get in contact with CD Projekt Red themselves. However, good old Patrick Klepek over at Vice Gaming did a really great article about it. Shout outs to Patrick. I love him and his work. The headline, getting a refund for Cyberpunk 2077 is a complete mess. So people who have tried to go through the email process of getting a refund, is it on? It should be in here. No, I'm gonna... That article is great, but it didn't have the thing that I thought it did. I'm gonna have to go over to Patrick's Twitter.
Hey, No Man's Sky did win an award this time.
Yes, but how long did it take for it to get to that point?
Don't worry about it.
I mean, I'm very happy for No Man's Sky, and Sean Murray didn't even seem like he believed that the game was going to win that Best Ongoing Game award. But let's call it what it is. That game was an absolute mess when it first came out.
I'm just glad I only got the game physically for like $44. That's all I'm gonna say on that. So I didn't pay full price, and I still got a game out of it anyway. So I do feel bad about the people who did want the game and got absolutely shafted for it.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's just poor management. Like, I think a lot of that is poor management, and just like I have my own thing where a lot of people, like, I feel like they were complaining so hard about it, like wanting it to get released, and those same people who pushed it to get it released are bitching that it's bad, because that's like my thing. But then you told me later on, after I went about that there's a way that people do it. They don't base it on like actually people complaining. They're not run by that. I think that's something similar to that idea.
Yeah, like release dates are never based off of demand from the consumer. It's based off for business reasons. It doesn't matter how much you throw a tantrum on Twitter about Cyberpunk being delayed again. They're going to put it out when CD Projekt Red feels that it is the most advantageous business decision for them. I did find so Patrick on Twitter shared what people have been getting as far as emails go when they try to go through the email process of getting a refund for Cyberpunk. This is the response that you get. Dear Gamer, this is confirmation that we have received your assistance request for refunding a console copy of Cyberpunk 2077. As this email was sent automatically, we kindly ask you not to reply. We'll get back to you as soon as possible, no later than by the end of 2020, with information regarding next steps. If you own a digital copy of the game on Xbox, visit this Xbox support article for details on how to refund. If you own a digital copy on PlayStation, please wait for us to get back to you. For help with other Cyberpunk 2077 related matters, please visit our technical support website, CD Projekt Red Team. And of course, this came out before the thing with Sony came out about them taking it off of the store. This seems like an absolute garbage mess.
It is, and I think and someone says here too where Cyberpunk will get better with time. I want to also think that I really do, and I want to keep hope that the game, how it's getting taken care of and handled, unfortunately poorly. I feel like all that stuff to look hopeful for, I feel like I'm hoping it does turn out to be a lot better, because at the very least you can tell that there was a lot of work put into it. Honestly, not as bad as The Last of Us Part 2 in terms of behind the scenes shenanigans, but I mean, I don't know. That's personal opinion. I feel like I would like to think it's gonna get better. For right now, it's an absolute shit show. Especially based on some of the things that we've been hearing. You've been hearing more so, obviously, since you're on the Cyberwatch. What is this, day 2 of Cyberwatch?
Going on week 2 of Cyberwatch here on Bits and Pixels.
Hashtag Cyberwatch.
Cut it down.
Yeah, can I get a hashtag Cyberwatch in the chat?
I got you.
No, I think it's just really, really shitty because of course this game will get better over time, but that's not what matters at this point. It matters the fact that they were actively trying to deceive consumers, and they've basically ruined all sense of trust with a fan base that was literally willing to die for them last week, basically. Yes, I appreciate all of the different versions of Cyberwatch in the chat.
I'm trying not to laugh about it, and then you brought it up, and I'm done.
It goes back to the fact that they did not send out console versions of that game to people for review purposes,
especially for the base game,
which, I mean, and to a lesser degree, the fact that people weren't allowed to use to capture their own footage, they could only use the B-roll that was provided to them. Then again, that's kind of standard practice within the video games industry. Still doesn't make it any less shitty.
Yeah, of course not.
And the other thing that I think we do all need to remember is the fact that this game has been in development for 8 years and began pre-production before PS5 and Xbox Series X were even a glimmer in Sony and Microsoft's eyes. And
do you think it'd be a lot different if if they did release it for next gen, then
I don't.
Because I feel like with PC, because the reason I got the physical copy, and I think I explained it to you, is that because I heard it's going to be better on the PS5, and it's going to be a lot better in terms, like, if we compare the PC and the PS5, it graphically look pleasing compared to the PC, over the PC. And so I just thought, like, somebody brought up, like, if would have gone differently. I thought I feel like it could, but I mean, like, obviously you would know more on that.
I don't think it would. I mean, from what I hear about playing the game through backwards compatibility on the next gen consoles, I heard that it is a little bit of a smoother experience, but I don't think it is much better than what you are looking at right now.
Yeah.
And I don't want people to use the excuse. I think I touched on this a little bit last week. I don't want to hear people use the excuse of, like, oh, what do you expect when you're trying to run this clearly next gen game on hardware from 2013? You can't give me that. You can't give me that argument when we had Ghost of Tsushima come out this year and looks gorgeous on a base model PS4.
Yeah, it did.
Like,
it does. I love that.
That's my go-to example, because it is very much in the same line of what a Cyberpunk is, an open world action RPG.
Mm-hmm.
You can't give me the line of, like, this game would be just as buggy. No, because Ghost of Tsushima exists. That's really, like, that's my main. I have not even played that game, but what I have seen of that game is beautiful, and I can't.
Yeah, it does look beautiful.
We've got 2 people in the Discord. They actually, like, I was chilling out and watching them play Ghost of Tsushima, because I would always see the trailers for it. I see them do it. It's Tuck and Warshock, by the way. They were playing, and I was just watching, and just based on, like, even if it was just streamed via Discord, just seeing that just looks so pretty. Like, the detail that they do, like, that for some of these bosses, like, it's definitely like a it's what I feel like Sekiro should have been, because Sekiro was pretty good, but Sekiro was a lot better. It was like a Japanese, sorry, a lot better. It was a Japanese version of Dark Souls, in my opinion. But, like, just the amount of work they put in the time, like, you could see that as well in a lot of, like, the gameplay, and how it does remind me of, like, such a great game. I don't know. It was great. It was pretty.
Yeah, I think there are just too many games that came out this year that look absolutely gorgeous, using, like, as much power as they possibly could squeeze out of the base model PS4 and Xbox One, that look too pretty for the excuse to be used. For the excuse to be used that it's just like, it's the hardware,
Didn't Death Stranding get a Game of the Year last year?
No, Sekiro did.
Sekiro did? Okay, that explains a lot then. It's pretty good though. Sekiro's still a good game. That's just my personal opinion. I'm not a huge Dark Souls fan. It felt like Dark Souls. Anyways.
But yeah, that's gonna really do it for Cyberwatch for this episode. When we record our next episode, if there's more cyber watching to be had, this cyber will be watched, and I will talk about it. But yeah, I mean, I guess to kind of close it out, we got another question in the chat. Why do you think CD Projekt Red fell short in its production of Cyberpunk? From my understanding about how AAA video game development goes, is that they spend a lot of time coming up with ideas, but very rarely executing on things. It's a lot of gathering ideas of, oh, how cool would it be if we did this? How cool would it be if we did that? And they do that for several years at a time before they realize, oh shit, eventually we got to put out a video game, so we better start working on this. And so crunch ends up becoming a problem in this regard. Again, this is not a blanket statement for how every single AAA studio does things, but this is what I understand that is the common problem that is found at a lot of AAA studios. I think they did end up shooting themselves in the foot. it's tough. Because I think one of the big things that was a big strength of theirs and a big weakness of theirs was how strong their marketing was.
It was super strong. I mean, they got Keanu frickin' Reeves, man.
Right, exactly.
He marketed the crap out of that.
Their marketing team, I think, was killer. I mean, hats off to the CD Projekt Red marketing team. But I think it really came to bite them in the ass when the stuff that they were showing was, I think, what their goal was for the game, but they just couldn't meet the expectation. And I think they also fell short from the aspect of, I think they felt like they needed to get the game out during this holiday season, so that way they could maximize their sales, which, do with that information what you will. You know, like, if the fall season is the most busy time of the year when it comes to video game releases, because everybody's trying to get their game out in that Black Friday to up until Christmas time range. That's just common, you know. Everybody wants to have that. It's a very sought after position on the calendar. I think honestly, really, what they needed to do is they needed to delay until at least April of 2021. They needed to, like, not even, like, obviously, like, right now with this, like, timeline that they are projecting is that they think that they'll have everything really ready to go by the time that second patch hits in February. I think they needed to have more time than that. I think they needed to push back all the way until April of 2021.
I mean, if anything, though, at least, like, if they held in for too long, if they didn't have that released as soon as did, though, it probably would have turned into, like, a Kingdom Hearts 3 situation, where they probably had to send in, like, another, like, DLC and then still realize that the game was kind of okay, and then the 10 years of you waiting for, like, the sequel to Kingdom Hearts 2 was just an elaborate, you know, plot to be just sad for the rest of your life.
Yeah, but I would say that I think it's the difference there, though, is that I think Kingdom Hearts was a known quantity at that point, so even with the delays that kept on happening with Kingdom Hearts 3, at the end of the day, you knew that it was going to be a Kingdom Hearts game, whereas Cyberpunk was this brand new thing coming off of the... As much as we want to say that we were hyped for Kingdom Hearts 3, we knew what the known quantity... Like, Kingdom Hearts was a known quantity. We knew what Kingdom Hearts 2 was. You had a pretty good idea of what Kingdom Hearts 3 was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Coming off of... And you knew whether or not you were going to like that or not. CD Projekt Red was coming off of The Witcher 3, which is arguably one of the best games of the generation. It is arguably one of the biggest games of the Xbox One, PS4 generation. And it is one of the, like... It is the game that has made CD Projekt be elevated to these levels of such a successful company.
Yeah.
And now they're dipping their toes into a completely new IP. So it's that thing of, like, everybody had these completely wild expectations of Cyberpunk is going to change my life, when in reality you have to kind of, like, narrow in that critical eye and think to yourself, there's no way that this game is going to live up to the hype that is surrounding it. There's absolutely no way.
Yeah.
So that
being said, yeah.
So that's Cyberwatch for this episode. I know we're kind of running a little bit behind on our time, so I want to...
we get passionate about these talks. I think it's fine.
Yeah. The only other thing, like, news story that I wanted to talk about from my section, so there's been rumors for a while now that Nintendo is going to be releasing a Switch Pro, so like an upgraded version of the Switch, and those rumors have been kind of going on for a while, but it seems that Doug Bowser, president of Nintendo America, has stated now that it doesn't seem like you should be counting on that. Because of the success that they've kind of seen with the Switch and the Switch Lite, it kind of allows the company to treat their life cycle model for the Switch differently than some other companies do. So don't anticipate a model refresh anytime soon. So, seems like
okay with that.
Yeah, I like I'm okay with it from the standpoint of like, ooh, great, another console I don't need to have like right now, but also from the standpoint of like the Switch is kind of starting to show a little bit of its. I mean, we're about to hit 4 years of the Switch coming up here in March. And the game and the console is starting to show a little bit of its like, this isn't quite the it's not quite the hardware that we need to be able to maintain like the great software titles that we're putting out. So from that standpoint, it's a little disheartening, but
yeah.
What are you gonna do? It's Nintendo. Carlo, let's get into your news.
As an update, by the way, it was just posted an hour ago, and I wanted to bring this up since I'm about to talk about Smash for like 2 seconds. Super Nintendo World Direct is going to be up tomorrow at 3 p.m. PT, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's December 18. If you guys are interested in looking at that, check. Unfortunately, Nintendo of America is going to be doing that. I'm still salty at Nintendo for a lot of things. So yeah, if you guys are interested in the Super Nintendo World, which is the thing we were talking about, by the way, they're having that direct tomorrow. So you guys should check that out. Anywho, Sephiroth has been officially... Oh, actually, funny thing is that he was unofficially released today, but only for players who are interested in actually beating him on very hard mode, which I did, and I spent a half an hour to do that before today. If you want to see me yell and cry about it, Panoy95 on twitch.tv/Panoy5, you should watch me cry about it. Sephiroth is cool. There was this mode which I thought was really interesting that Smash hasn't really done until now. He has a you can get him early, or you could wait till his official drop date on the 22nd. And so what it is that on the menu at the top, you'll see his thing happen. You'll see like a fight thing that says like, "Hey, do you want to like fight Sephiroth, like the last final boss fight?" And so you get press start. You could do easy, normal, or very hard. If you get very hard, you're cool. And so you fight him, and if you beat him, you get to release him early. You get him early, as long as you bought him, of course. And that was really cool. I thought that was a really awesome mini game, and you could actually have timed fights with it too. Yeah, Sephiroth or Smash fought me. But you had time fights with it, and I thought that was a really great way to actually release a character. The full patch notes for the game, however, is not going to be out until 22nd on his actual release date. So most of the base game, most of that version's game of 9.0.2 is out. So there's no changes in the game aside from Sephiroth and wonderful music. So there was a good time. If you want more of my my analysis on Sephiroth, you're more than welcome to hit me up on that as well. Back for Blood is aka Left 4 Dead 3 is currently in alpha right now. They have their game out for alpha on their site if you want to check that out. I believe they're only doing on PC. I'm not entirely sure, but it literally looks like Left 4 Dead 2 and World War Z had a baby and made more ugly zombie babies.
Yeah,
but it looks great.
We need more of that.
Yeah,
just what
we do. We really do. We need more zombie games. Sure. Gosh, like Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, their zombies though, I haven't played it yet. Looks great from what I've seen, but it looks really good. Borderlands 3 has their loot event that came back. If you guys are interested, that loot event starts now. If you guys want to do it alone or you want to do it with other people, get more stuff because of their Season Pass 2, which I heard is a flop. I don't know. That's December 17th. That's today. To January 21st of next year, so you guys can enjoy some of the loot event. March 31st, 2021. Nintendo has we've heard that date somewhere floating around the onlines. It's basically how. Yeah, well, let me explain to you, good sir, how Nintendo plans to cancel or at least remove a lot of the Mario games for their 35th anniversary, so it becomes kind of similar to how the Fire Emblem anniversary things happened, where they're only releasing it for like a set period of time. It's like the Disney movie thing, like someone brought up earlier. It's like that Disney movie thing.
Put it back
like,
in the
vault. we'll unlock the vault. Yeah, they're gonna keep it in the vault because that's their sales tactic. And I'm not sure why Nintendo wants to do it, aside from the fact that like, oh, they probably hit even or like hit it big with the Fire Emblem release. They explained in this article by Nintendo Life. They explained that their sales for the Super Mario collection that just got released, that did really well. And Kyle, I know you had your issues with that.
I know what you're talking
about. They said the sales did really well, and even though they kept it close to the original game as seemingly possible, which for better or for worse is what it is. But after March 31st, they're going to be cutting all of that off from the Nintendo shop, and they're going to keep it in the Disney vault until they choose to resell all the games and stuff like that. So I find that's going to be really interesting. December 23rd, if you guys are interested, Genshin Impact is going to be on their next update. For those of you guys that are interested, it's the Dragonspine event. And so we thought it was going to be the Inazuma one. I want it, but Dragonspine seems really cool for the December 23rd release. That's my sister's birthday. I'm totally skipping it. And one of the things that I am going to be getting out of this for sure is that I like the new thing that the frozen tundra of the entire area is very similar to the frozen areas of Breath of the Wild, by the way. So that's going to be really interesting how they played that out. There's going to be a lot more stuff, more artifacts, more weapons, 2 new characters. Both of them are hot, by the way.
Albedo sucks.
He looks sexy, man. I don't know.
He looks too much. He looks too much like Aether. Like it's just like.
They're brothers.
No, they're not.
They can be in my head.
Okay. Okay.
He's voiced by the guy who does the
you want to
script
make
writing for
canon,
JoJo.
you make canon.
See, that's how ships work. Until they get shot by the cannon and sink. But Nintendo Switch release for that, by the way. I don't know how that's gonna be for co-op anything if like you have to pay to play online.
I imagine that the Genshin Impact experience on Switch when it does finally come out is going to be like sectioned off like the PS4 version is. Like it's going to be its own experience. Like you're not going to be able to play co-op with people on mobile or PC or probably.
Actually, I have been able to play with people on PS4 lately. King Tuck in the Discord, he does. Yeah, we've been playing a lot of Genshin shenanigans, and he's on PS4.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, so I think it'll be fine. I just think I don't know how Nintendo's gonna do it because I think their Overwatch servers are completely restricted to just Nintendo Switch stuff, and it's Overwatch. So that's kind of weird. I don't know.
I believe Overwatch is already restricted. I don't think Overwatch has crossplay.
It doesn't? Okay, yeah. No, so that's going to be really weird for people who want to do Genshin stuff. But it's going to be on Nintendo Switch if you guys are interested. I don't know what the date is for that, but December 23rd for that release. 3 more things. Lupin the Third, the first, it's the CGI movie, voiced by mostly the original voice actors, Tony Oliver, Michelle Ruff, usually the good peeps. Aside from the guy who plays the inspector, Senigata, he's not going to be voicing that. He's dead. Rest in pepperoni. Somebody took his place though and did a very good job with it. And if you guys want to hear that in English, December 15th, so that was 2 days ago, there's the digital HD release. If not, the Blu-ray DVD combo with the Steelbook is going to be coming out January 12th, 2021. If you're a huge fan of the old school anime, Lupin the Third is going to be one of your favorites. It has some great music, great voice acting, past, present, and future voice actors. Rest in peace to Zenigata's voice actor.
I've never watched Lupin the Third, but like this movie like definitely caught my eye, and like I definitely want to check it out. It looks really cool.
It does look interesting.
The anime actually is still doing well. Like they have like continual seasons. I know that they have different VAs for it now back in Japan. I know Miyuki Sawashiro is one of my favorite Japanese VAs. She is the voice of. Gosh, this is gonna be hard. She's the voice of Velvet in Odin Sphere. She does so many things I cannot remember anymore. It's been a long time since I've actually like listened to actual like Japanese anime like in not English. So I would have to get back to you on that. But she's a really prolific voice actor there. She's the voice of Fujiko. So I know that's still going on pretty well in Japan. Kind of like Case Closed, but Case Closed has been up since like 1996. Yeah, see, you know, it's been a freaking long time. They finally made some headway with Jimmy's and Rachel's romance. Anyways, that's a different topic. Twitch streamers have been hit by a lot of DMCA issues, and I want you to know that's the U.S. Senate's fault. Specifically, Tom Tillis with the DMCA. If you are caught, and the proposed law is you could be slapped with a felony if you're playing a like if you have like even like small music, like gosh, how should I describe, like say if you were playing like One Winged Angel on Switch while you're playing Smash, you know, you can get caught, like busted for that, and that felony would be such a huge impact on a lot of streamers who are trying their best to do things, but like just to even like get stuff taken care of. But it's such a huge, it would shut down a lot of things in my opinion. Like even an album on YouTube, even a video clip on Twitch, or a song on Instagram, that could get you a felony offense. It's absolutely garbage. And I thought it was the stupidest thing I had ever read. And then the shittiest part is the fact that it's in the United States government, which is completely functional. I'll let you sit with that one.
It's,
you know, they're trying to put a lot of like they're trying to put like a lot of roadblocks onto like Twitch, and just a lot of that thing that makes them like Twitch without like, and Twitch is trying to be legal about this. At least a lot of the streamers that we know, they're trying to be like, they're being reasonable about like what our streamers are doing. But you know, this just sucks. Like I don't want to like, for example, I wouldn't want the three of us, because we're playing non-copyrighted music, by the way, I don't want us to get like hit by that felony charge.
I forgot to copyright my music.
So you know what I mean? Like it's absolutely stupid. You shouldn't get. Yeah, you shouldn't get it.
Speaking on the DMCA stuff real quick, our good friend Michael here in the chat, he's a wonderful, wonderful streamer. He's a moderator for us. He he got the raw end of the deal. Let me see if I can. So he recently was doing a stream of Super Metroid on his stream, but after he did his stream, he then made a post on Twitter saying, "I'm no longer going to be streaming Super Metroid." And I'll explain later. Here is the explanation. I'm going to reading his thread word for word. Okay, so after last night's super fun Super Metroid stream, thanks again for everyone hanging out and being awesome, my VOD gets muted for copyrighted audio. The segment in question targeted Brinstar's Red Soil area music. However, upon examining the source of the copyright claim, it gets listed as, quote, subsurface scattering, drone emoji, end quote. Did a little searching and found this official published gem of a remix. And tweet number 3, considering the fact that it did not get muted in my previous VODs, which means they're open to DMCA, and the fact that, frankly, I don't even know how this is legal, I decided not to stream Super Metroid and deleting all existing VODs of it, just gonna play it offline for fun. So, literally is just playing Super Metroid on...
Yeah, and I got busted actually. Like I got like a muted thing. I was playing Phasmophobia of all games, right? And because I didn't go into it any further, like unlike you, I didn't go into it any further. There's a section where it was just the wind blowing, and that section got hit with copyright. I don't understand how that works because I guess wind blowing is such a copyright by the by Twitch at this point. It's just absolutely weird, and it says here in this thing too that the reason why this senator would push this proposal for to slap those felonies because this person has received like $100,000 from PAX, right? And he has ties to Motion Pictures Association, Sony, Universal, Comcast, NBC, Universal, the Internet Television Association, so many places. So of course he's gonna want to he wants to keep that monopoly for him. Yeah. And that's what it sounds like. And I think this guy is an absolute ass for to be a little bit more on the classy side, ass.
Yeah.
Just ass. You're an ass. Like, you know, that's how a lot of Twitch streamers have gotten, like, while still playing under the rules of streaming to pick themselves up. Like, a lot of the current, like, a lot of these famous streamers, they wouldn't be where they were if that thing was available. That means we can't play games. Like, a lot of these copyrights are these copyright strikes. And Twitch isn't, they're not escaping from my rage, my verbal rage here. Like they're still in my shit list of things. I mean, I appreciate Twitch for like having us and giving us the freedom to do some of these things, but the copyright strikes has just been such a shitty time for so many people, like for even like the Metroid stuff, like for businesses, like, and now that the US government has that thing out, you know, because of that one person who happens to have the monopoly on that all, right? Like that's just so much about what that future would be if it were to be pushed into law. Yeah, Cyberpunk having that option to just not stream the copyrighted music was great.
Yeah, but it also didn't work. They missed multiple songs that could have gotten you a copyright.
Really?
Strike. Yeah. So it's a cool idea, but they also didn't make that streamer mode work.
I guess honestly, this is not even a Cyberpunk thing. It's just a Twitch trying to catch everybody with their pants down thing. When they walk into the bathroom, it's the person washing their hands, and they're like, "So did you do it or not?"
Yeah, like
I mean, I went to the.
So until that, I don't know if it's been patched yet, but like when the game first came out, they just got out there. CD Projekt Red was just like, hey, so it's come to our attention that the songs and the brain dance sequence, you know, the ones that cause people to have epileptic seizures, streamer mode is not catching those songs. So for the if you plan on streaming the game, just turn the music off. Just turn the music off.
I remember that one. That's super silly. That was super silly.
So stupid.
So yeah, that's kind of happening with this proposed law right now that can affect a lot of Twitch streamers. And I think it's absolutely garbage. So keep an eye on that if you guys will. If you guys want more information, you are more than welcome to look up into it. Those links can be posted if you guys choose to look at. It's not like the people who are listening to this audio only would listen to it. Well, be able to get it. But lastly, as I read here from that list of stuff, Twitch word bans. So Twitch doing more stuff. And again, this is why I was talking about why that Twitch hasn't escaped my verbal wrath yet, because they are going to be banning words.
But not words that like should be banned either. It's
no. Exactly.
I think as long as you don't type them, you'll be fine. But it's words like virgin, incel, and simp are now banned, are against TOS for Twitch. Whereas there's a bunch of other different words, racist and ableist words, that are not.
Or the N-word. Like, yeah, let's be real here. Yeah. Like, yeah. I think I've seen a stream. I'm not going to say what stream it is, because that would paint this community negatively, and I think they don't deserve that. But like, because people shouldn't ruin it for a group of people. Like a certain person shouldn't ruin it for a group of people. But what it was like, they would literally use the N-word to call someone out, and I'm like, one, that is wrong. That's two, that like you shouldn't be saying that in the first place, and three, why are you saying in the first place? These are type of things like when Twitch are doing their word bans, I feel like they should actually understand what people want, like in terms of bans. Like, you know, people want they want to remove the toxicity. I think this is an interesting step. It's not like entirely bad because they have simp, incel. I think a lot of that does have more in negative connotations than it should. But like the word virgin,
like
it's
sorry. So the term simp as itself is already like something that, one, you don't want to be called, and so you don't want somebody to simp for you, because simp is actually a acronym for those that don't know. Simp stands for someone who idolizes mediocre pussy or penis, whichever P word you prefer. Yeah. So it's a double insult, because it's referring to people who are obsessed over others that are not worth their time, and then that other person that they are simping over is also mediocre. That's the whole thing about. So you don't want people to simp for you, and you don't want to be a simp for someone. It's a double negative insult. And
yeah,
but somehow it kind of got turned into like, oh man, I simp for that person. Like, no, you don't want to be a simp. That's not this. Not like that's. It's like how Stan all of a sudden became like a good thing to call somebody who was like a super fan of something. Y'all know where the phrase "stan" comes from, right?
I thought of Eminem.
That's exactly where
where that came from. Oh my god, that's so cool.
It comes from the song "Stan" by Eminem, who is like, if you stan somebody, you are a crazy psycho super fan who is willing to like go to extreme lengths, and like you're probably have mental health issues. Like it's really weird how you kind of like pop culture takes certain phrases and then grabs it and then is like, yes, this thing that's kind of an insult, I'm going to turn it into just common vernacular.
That's the thing. Like, I could see, like, I'm bashing them for like specific words. Like they could have done better with some of the words that they chose, like sexually focused terms on this platform. Like, but the thing is, like, the word virgin, right? Like, let's be religious. The term Virgin Mary, if you're a religious Catholic, if you're a Catholic or a Christian, religious Christian, if you're a Catholic or Christian, like, obviously, since 'tis the season, you know, here lies baby Jesus in the manger, born under the Virgin Mary. Like, come on, like, there's that. Like, there's a thing called there's like some alcoholic drinks that have the word virgin in it to say they're not alcoholic drinks. I know I said alcoholic drinks earlier, but like I can't give like an exact example for it. But like, it doesn't necessarily mean something bad. I feel like the word virgin has been used so poorly upon others, but it literally just means someone who hasn't had sexual intercourse. That's it. Okay, so what? You've never had sex with somebody. Go fuck yourself. Like, whatever. Right. That's a thing. That is a literal thing. And if you're gonna judge someone because they didn't have sex with somebody, and you're gonna call them that, you're the reason why we're getting those words banned in the first place when they shouldn't have been banned in the first place. Like, that's the stupid part about it. I have my degree in mother effing English, and I will bitch about this because there are just some words that don't need to be banned. That is one of them. Like, I'm sorry. It is such a weird thing to ban when it's completely normal.
It goes back to that John Mulaney stand-up bit where he's talking about if you're trying to compare which of these two words is the worst word and you won't say what one of them is,
yeah,
that's the worst word.
That's the worst word. Exactly.
I think ultimately for me, when it comes to this change by Twitch, it's fine. I don't think it's a bad change necessarily. It just feels like a half step. Like it feels like a half step, and it feels like they're thinking about the wrong changes that need to be made on Twitch as a platform. With the fact that you're going to ban the words simp, incel, and virgin, but you're not going to make site-wide changes to get rid of like people calling other people the N-word and like with hard R kind of stuff. Like that's just it just seems like a half step to me. Like
it's just and honestly it's one of those you're banning words, but you're not actively looking at the communities themselves. I mean, and granted, there are so many communities in Twitch, which makes sense, but there's just so much that people could do anyway that Twitch, I feel like, needs to get a better handle on what their TOS, their rules, their regulations, anything that they really need to do to get more control of their site. And I mean, Twitch still has control of their site. It's not like it's hell in a handbasket. It's just those actions, like you said, that because they always have those issues that still ramp up, and they're able to take care of it. This is just one of those things where, like, you're right. I think it's a great step in the direction, but I felt like they went about it the wrong way, and it just doesn't. Like, a lot of that is, I feel, is just based on. I don't know. It's just based on a lot of. Because okay, let me just start again. Where simp and incel probably could, that's fine. But again, the word virgin, again, normally that was a thing. It's like you know, like those Christmas songs where they say like, the song "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas," right? Like. The one of the lines literally says make the Yuletide gay. You know what gay means? It doesn't mean homosexual. I mean, it can, but it also means happy. Mm-hmm. Like, that's like another thing too. People are throwing around like words. Like, the great thing about the English language is that you can really make colloquially. You can make anything you want out of the language. And they'll have meaning. Like those, like we'll say something in English that doesn't make any sense to somebody in Japan, but somebody will say something in German. We all have no idea what it means, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, it's like saying a chair here is different than with using a chair over there. Like there's a different word for it. But and that's the thing though. Like, they could ban some of these words, but because of the fluidity of the English language, people are just gonna find different words. They are. I feel like there just needs to be a better thing regarding these word bans. Like, again, a good step, but they really got to focus on like the creativity of that people. I'm not saying stifle people's creativity, but that just comes down to the individuals themselves. Obviously, streamers would do their part to actually do like reports and stuff, or moderators or whatever. Mm-hmm. But words are so colloquially. Yeah, so colloquially like versatile that really anything could be. I can like go look to your face and call you a fucking chair or something like that, and then if you weren't a smart person, you know, you'd probably be like, that's still an insult because I added one thing, fucking. Like, that kind of thing will kind of just like pass on and kind of do something else if it actually ever gain traction. But like things like that, people can be creative about. That's like the wonderfulness of the English language. Yeah, that's like my rant. It's like my Andy Rooney rant where I just kind of get angry about something. This is one of those things where I get angry about something.
Angry old man
because it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Yes. Rest in peace, Andy Rooney.
E-cast.
But yeah, Twitch has gone to tightening their guidelines and banning some words. They did have a wider expansion of their general policies on hateful conduct and stuff, and they are cutting ties with people who were arrested in a child sex trafficking sting, or they also had gotten onto Dr. Disrespect. I don't know if you guys know who Dr. Disrespect is, but they are trying to do better in tightening down their guidelines, which again, good. The words have issues with, but it's just what it is right now. I'm pretty sure some things will change at the moment, but that's just going on. That's what's going on with Twitch streaming and stuff like that.
Hell yeah.
So,
well, yeah, we've been going on for a while. We ended up going a lot longer than we had originally planned, so maybe it's about
my eyes
time.
hurt.
It's about time. Probably about time to wrap up. What do you think?
Yeah.
Usually I think that sounds good. I think we had a grand time here. We covered a lot of things, and very grateful for everyone commenting in the chat and asking questions. That being said, we are likely going to be taking a break for the next couple of weeks for the holidays, but we are planning to do some bonus streams. Once we figure that out, we will let you guys know, but make sure to follow us here on Twitch. That way you get notifications. Yeah, when we're getting notifications, when we're going live. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Bits and Pixels Pod. That way you know all the things that are going on and when we are going to be going live again on stream.
And just in case you guys didn't know, it's Christmas next week, so if you celebrate
that's a thing.
That's
and then New Year. So this sort of format will be likely coming back in early January, but look out for some bonus content from us. Thank you again so much. We really appreciate all the support. It really does mean a lot to us, and we're excited to bring you more nerdy stuff.
Thank you so much. Like we hope you guys have a good, happy holidays. Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Any holiday you guys celebrate, happy holiday. Like just straight up. Thank you so much. Yeah, sums it up. There's so many. I think there's like 7 extra ones. I don't know.
Yes, but again, thank you so much. And this version of the stream will be out on all of the podcasting platforms. So if you came in a little bit later, you can catch the beginning. Again, on all the podcasting platforms. And then we will also have the visual experience on YouTube shortly. So we will let you know when that's happened. But thanks again. We appreciate you. Happy holidays. And we will see you next time, nerds. Bye.
Bye.